Oh, thallium.
Hello and welcome to the Saladcast on Sunday the 4th of May 2014. I'm your host Dan Train. Joining me today, Zachary Burgess.
Because thallium is so hilarious.
And Robert Kemp.
Oh, I meant it in a sort of surprising manner. It's like, oh, thallium.
No. I think is the word I would have used for surprise.
Oh, perhaps I should have just been slightly more explicit and go, oh, I did not expect thallium.
Is that with a PH?
No,
it's TH.
TH. Oh, thallium. Ah. Is there a thallium? No, there's only a thallium.
I'm pretty sure I wasn't saying thallium like phallus. Thallium.
That's the same, isn't it?
No,
pretty much.
The TH is slightly different. as you guys always used to point out to me when I used to say free,
I agree.
And free, meaning both free and the number, when it should be free and three, with that slight...
Yeah, that's from the R, though, not from the TH.
You literally say the versus...
They are different.
F-R, free, T-H-R.
It's different.
They're definitely different.
Because there's an R after it.
R. Well, they're both R. Well, yeah, okay, what about... But it is different when there's no R, isn't it? I can't think of a good example of that. Well, thallium.
Yeah,
like
exactly. We're talking about TH and PH.
Oh, yeah, but the is the rather than...
PH is like a homophone of using F, isn't it? They sound exactly the same, right? So fat and fat, they sound exactly the same, right? Whereas if it was fat, that would be different, like thatched.
Well, I suppose you don't have thatched and thatched.
Thatched.
That would be pretty good, though.
My thatched.
So we make a weave of lard.
Oh.
Thatched. Lard weave.
Lard weave? I don't think you could weave lard very easily. It would kind of...
It would have to be very cold. It's like Arctic. You can only do this in like Arctic countries.
Arctic lard weaving.
If you had like you know how you make a bacon weave. If you just had like the streakiest bacon, where the streaks were like more
just
than
lard.
the bacon,
right?
Would that be more of a lard weave than a bacon weave?
Possibly. Yeah, that could work. You could strip off the bacon from the actual lardy rind stuff.
Yeah, or if you took the fat bit off a steak and just weaved that.
What are you going to do with this lard weave?
I don't know. I wonder how good an insulator it is.
Well, it's fat, so presumably pretty good.
Yeah.
That's what animals use it for.
It's fat.
Man, that would be totally gross. My house has a roof made of fat because it's so good at insulating.
Weaved fat.
Probably wouldn't last very long, though, would it? Because it would probably get picked up by birds or would just have a layer of insect.
Yeah.
So that would be a thatched roof.
Thatched roof.
Right, okay. We got it.
A batch of thatch.
You'd have to protect the thatch with thatch, right? So you'd have to have a layer of thatch and then another layer of thatch.
And then some proper building material underneath.
Yeah, potentially, if you want an actual house. Oh, that's got to go.
I want a made-up house in the clouds.
Does fat not just... Doesn't it not go off? It must go off, right? Like, just fat, pure fat. Like, can you just keep it forever, like, in unrefrigerated?
Probably get eaten.
We can rancid, surely.
Does it?
If it's unrefrigerated.
There we go.
I don't know, but is that the meat part that goes rancid? And the fat's just attached to it?
Fat goes
fat, yeah.
Does it?
That's why it's like... That's a... I don't know. That's just something that I associate with fat is rancidness.
Okay.
Is it putrescible is the question?
No, it's not.
No. It's not liable to become putrid.
Well, I don't know actually. The question is rancid a stage towards
putridity? Putridity?
Is it on the same scale?
So if you have the word putrescible, is there an equivalent for rancidity?
Rancessible.
Rancessible means that a material is capable of rancidity. That's not even a word, is it? Rancidity?
I think we just made that up. I just made up
putrescible is a word.
Yeah, putrescible is a word, but putricity is putridity. Putrid. Putridity.
With
Is
you,
that a
no
word?
R's. No, probably not.
Yeah, no. Linguistics.
Well, that was the grammar cast. Off the have.
Get out of
For
the
some
way.
reason.
That's because we start every podcast with a weird element word. Then
We
every
haven't
time.
actually really had a normal, like, helium or something.
No, something where it's pretty defined what it sounds like. Well, not that thallium is much different, but
No.
it's thallium.
I don't know. Maybe we have, and we just skipped over those ones. No interesting.
Maybe we
Pointless
just didn't
discussion.
remember because it was not interesting.
Exactly. It was just helium. Let's move on.
But you don't say, I have farted.
What?
You
Why
say,
would
you say
Why
I,
would you?
no, because
Why are you trying?
I'm doing the THF thing again. Because you say, you don't say I have farted, I have farted. Different sound. That was the thing we were arguing about, wasn't
They're
it?
definitely different. Yeah, I agree. They are different. But if it was a PH, you wouldn't be able to tell if it was different from F, right?
No,
if
I don't think so.
If you said I have PHAR
That's a fat beat.
farted.
This is phrenology, which is PH.
Indeed. Got it.
Well,
So,
Bye.
welcome to the Saladcast. This is a podcast about video games, as I say every time now, just to remind people.
I did pick up a game in a humble bundle not that long ago about typography, so maybe there is some discussions to be had about that at some
But
point.
has typography got much actually to do with language, or is it more to do with the letter forms? You know, do you think it matters, the fact that it's English? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if it
I
was...
suppose it does. I suppose... Well, it's more... I guess it's just aesthetics, but the aesthetics of language. It's
Yeah.
what makes it readable, isn't it? That's like, it's kind of important. Like, if language is a way of understanding, then the typography of language is just as important as the actual words if it's hard to read.
Yeah.
I was looking at a book about, like, designs of the 20th century or whatever.
Yeah.
And there was a section in there for fonts. And it didn't even have, like, Comic Sans or... I was seriously expecting Comic Sans to be in there. 'cause-
Helvetica is the
important.
obvious one.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was, the classics. Totally Roman and... But, I mean, come on, Comic Sans.
Comic Sans is only famous for being dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's quite late, isn't it? It must be like 92 or something that Microsoft came out with Comic Sans. Or maybe later,
so.
94.
Even so, if you're going to case study fonts, like the amount of hatred there is towards that thing, surely you need to at least mention it.
Yeah.
Did you see somebody made like a nice Comic Sans? Like Comic Sans Noye or something? Like a type designer made one that is Comic Sans-esque in that it's it's like cartoon letters or whatever, and it definitely has the feel of Comic Sans, but it's infinitely just nicer. And
I don't even know how you could achieve that.
It's because you don't know anything about fonts, really.
No.
The thing is, apparently, Comic Sans is really accessible and easy to read for some reason for partially sighted people and stuff. I don't know. So it turns out it has legit uses. I think that's an accident. I don't think they designed it that way.
Yeah, probably. Sort of jaunty.
But yeah.
Maybe because of the way the letters all sort of, kink differently, that it actually becomes easier to determine. And perhaps after some training, I guess, like rather than you've
maybe
never
it's
seen
the
Comic
things,
Sans for the first time. Then.
things that make it ugly actually make it good for that purpose or something. I don't know. It's definitely useful for sheep-based memes. It's nice finding that.
Isn't there that font that at the time someone put out that was OCR proof? And I think basically what he did was include little versions of the same letter inside that one. So for an X, for instance, would just have lots of X's. So OCR would obviously pick that up as lots of X's.
Okay, and it would just go completely wrong. That's interesting.
But it was still just about readable. Just about.
I've heard, on a slight tangent, people...
Because we haven't actually talked about video games yet, so...
Just
a slight tangent.
People wearing, like, a dazzle makeup that makes it impossible to get recognised by facial recognition software if you wear the right pattern on your... And also trying to make it look cool, for a girl or whatever. Fashion.
Surely you could do that by just adding more eyes.
Well, yeah. You have fake eyes and stuff. But, that's similar to what you were saying about trying to defeat the the machine learning algorithm that's trying to pick up on the image and find your face or your characters. Kind of crazy.
So I guess even if you gave it like the knowledge of that font, it probably wouldn't be the first thing it would try. You'd have to like put it into shit font mode or
emergency mode or something. Oh god, why are there so many X's?
Or one of those medieval style fonts that look like portcullises. Yeah, I mean, those
portcullis fonts.
You know what I mean? The sort of medieval fonts with the spiky letters. That it's sort of like lots of Christmassy stuff.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, they must have to do that if they want to read all these old medieval manuscripts onto Google Books or whatever. They must have to recognise all those crazy-ass...
That's just like the fact there might be a drop-down in the Google thing somewhere for like regular text, ye olde
text. Exactly.
Read
Almost
this.
certainly. So, what was the typography game? How did that work?
I haven't tried it yet. It's called Type Runner. And I think you play as a couple of full stops going through a world made of typography.
Okay.
Like a platformer. I think it's like one of these
things.
Yeah, I think it's a bit like one of these conceptual platformers that like Thomas Was Alone in some regards. Or
right, okay. Okay, well, I'll have to hear about that in another typography section some other time.
Yeah.
Meanwhile...
Unfortunately, I don't have a suitable segue this week because I haven't played it.
No problem. But have you heard of any news?
News! Yes.
Yes. Okay. Let's move on. No. What's the news?
There has been news. What do we want to talk about first then?
There's something about Destiny, wasn't there? A bunch of Destiny shit dropped. Did anyone read any of that shit?
No. I know that they were... Well, I sort of did. The only thing I sort of remember from it, because it was sort of straight after the last podcast, wasn't it, really? But that stuff
probably
came out. And that always means my memory is slipping by this point.
Yeah.
The one thing that has stuck with me about that is that it is decidedly Halo feeling, as in, Bungie's signature style is all over it.
Right, that's what I heard too.
Which isn't a bad thing.
No.
But is there a place for two Halos? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, you'd hope they'd done something, somewhat different. Otherwise, what's the point in going out on your own? And also, like, their new lore doesn't look like vastly. I mean, obviously it's different, but it's still sci-fi, and it's still
still mysterious alien race and all that stuff.
It clearly fits with Halo and Marathon in a kind of Bungie style universe type
definitely,
thing.
Definitely. I don't think they've gone far from their wheelhouse.
No.
And I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing, though. If they're very, very good at it, then why not? But, sometimes you want to see a studio do something outside their comfort zone.
Yeah, I mean, Naughty Dog's a perfect example with Last of Us was quite different to
yeah, exactly.
Uncharted stuff.
Well, and Uncharted, you could argue, is quite different from anything they'd done before that. So
sure, yeah.
They might have a little bit of a history of it.
Yeah, I guess you can't all do... Not every studio is good at doing, different stuff each time and it's still being good. But
so that was the thing. The one thing I took away from it is that that and that Bungie themselves seem very keen to express the point that it isn't Borderlands.
Oh, why do they care? Borderlands isn't like a huge deal. I mean,
I think it's because I think there's been a number of Borderlands is a pretty big deal for 2K. It's one of their it's one of their biggest sellers. But it's I don't know. I think it's because they were drawing comparisons because of the way that it's the drop-in co-op play,
right,
and stuff like that. That it got people like, oh, okay, so what you're doing is you're making something a little bit like Borderlands, but not Borderlands.
Have you ever freaking played Borderlands with drop-in co-op? You played with your friends. You had 4 people or less. And you played with only those people with only those characters because otherwise it screwed up all your levels.
Yeah, it's a good question. I honestly don't know. I honestly do not know.
So do you think this will work better in that vein than Borderlands did? Because you won't have all this level crap, will you? I mean, you do have loot.
Well, you might, presumably you do level, I would guess, if they're having any kind of RPG-ness to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work.
And presumably there'll be, well, I don't know. It depends how story driven it is or whatever. Are they going to be raids or whatever? Basically,
I think there will be. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's got to be some hook to keep you coming back. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that's the draw of a lot of games at the moment. Is you need some number to go up to hook you, and a lot of everything from Call of Duty, to Plants vs Zombies realizes that.
Everything from Call of Duty to a reskin of Call of Duty has realised.
Plants vs Zombies isn't a reskin of COD.
It practically is, though.
If you were going to say it was a reskin of anything, you'd probably say Battlefield, surely.
Well, yeah, but I meant that more in a way of you didn't really get a very different genre there.
Well,
it was
that's the gamut
a first-person shooter or another first-person shooter.
But we're talking about shooters, so isn't that a relevant comparison?
No, I thought you were going to say how prevalent the RPG numbers going up thing was covering lots of genres.
In which case, you
just saying all shooters already.
Well, yeah. In which case, you could pretty say every genre ever has tried it at some point. I'm sure, except maybe card games. I don't know. Oh no, even Uno. No. Fuck it, Uno has done that.
Wait, what do you mean?
Uno on Windows Phone.
All right,
has a bloody leveling system.
I just thought you were about to say the numbers go up in Uno.
I'm playing my 48.
But technically the numbers go down in Uno, so...
Well, if you're playing for score,
yeah,
which I don't think many people do, but... or at least the video games don't let you. Also, fuck Uno on Windows Phone.
Okay.
That is both a well-constructed and badly constructed game.
Why, is it taking too much of your time?
Well, no, when you get into the game bit, it's fine. When you're not in the game bit, it's utter garbage. The menus are just slow, and there's music, and it likes to, even if you've turned the music off, play the music while it's loading. It's get away. Just bad. And then you play it, and it's fine.
So what games do you play on your phone, on your Windows phone?
Minesweeper.
Is that the main thing? Does that come with it?
No, it's a free app. Is
it from
There's
Microsoft?
two of them, in fact. There's a free one from the Windows 7 days, which I maxed out the achievements for, and then found that they made a new one in the more Windows 8 style, so I'm doing that one now. See if I can max the achievements on that.
Awesome. Can you have a nice big...
It's a good shitting game.
It's a good shitting game.
The best side.
I'm sure. I think we already discussed this. That you should just be playing. You should just be playing Joyride, because that's the only good game on that entire fucking app store, basically.
Pretty much. Although if I get to the stage where I'm poo thrusting from the bowl, then I'll try to make some kind of if I'm playing Jetpack Joyride, what would happen in real life?
Okay.
Poo thrusting from the bowl. That sounds like a disaster.
Yes, I think that's generally what that was going to be.
I've achieved liftoff! That's what was a funny thought.
Yeah,
so gaming on Windows Phone, mostly... Yeah. As you can both attest.
Well, there's just not a lot there, is the problem.
No.
Yeah.
It's there's a few big names there, but I don't try those. I think there's a version of Asphalt, which is a series that's been running since iPhone started, I think.
It's not very good.
Yeah, it's a crappy racing game. But not that I've tried any of them, I just sort of assume it's a crappy racing game.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think EA put out quite a lot of stuff.
All right.
No Plants vs. Zombies, though. But
that's kind of annoying. Peggle, nothing like that. No.
I don't think so. No.
Peggle's pretty good on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I used to. Well, I never had it. I played other people's phone copies for a while. And then I got the Xbox version. Okay.
Have you got the Xbox One version?
No, I don't. I don't have Peggle 2.
Peggle 2, Electric Boogaloo. Yeah.
I do not. So
it
Bungie.
didn't seem like it was worth it. So Bungie.
That's all I got. You got any more? On Bungie?
No. I hear the sniper rifle is pretty much the same as in Halo, except you can level it up. So yeah.
One of those square scopes.
Yeah, just a satisfying action to it.
Just like
that was a bit over the top in Halo. The sniper rifle.
Oh, but that was super useful because you could at least hear when there was a sniper and the ridiculous trails it left. It was kind of nice in the multiplayer.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah,
but it had that weird sound where after a while you realise it sort of has its own echo in the sound effect that it makes. It's like.
Yeah, it's true. Nothing to do with the environment. It's just always got that echo. Yeah, it's a bit weird.
You just sort of notice it after a while.
I haven't heard anything else about Marty O'Donnell or anything.
No.
I don't think we'll never know what the hell happened, or.
No.
I guess we'll see what the music is like in Destiny. I thought Destiny and Titanfall would be like facing off against each other. I didn't expect them to be, quite far apart.
Oh, I don't know. I assumed Destiny would have a longer cycle. Yeah.
Right, yeah, makes sense.
Oh, well, because it sounds like they're being much more ambitious with what they want to achieve for that thing. When they're talking about building a platform and an ongoing world.
Right.
Some sort of persistence, I think they talked about at some point. And it's, how is all this going to fit in? Nobody knows. But it sounds considerably more ambitious than a multiplayer shooter with mechs. If you have to write it on paper.
Which is pretty much all they were going for, right? Wasn't it? They weren't like going for anything crazy. They were just
exactly.
Like, let's make something fun and
they made an incredibly focused one of those.
Indeed. Cool. Any other news?
Good news for me, given that I now have a Wii U, which I suppose I'll talk about later.
Cool.
Nintendo really wants you to have a copy of Mario Kart 8.
Hooray.
To the point where anyone who purchases a copy and registers it on Club Nintendo before July 31st, I think.
Yeah. What do they get?
Or June 3rd. One of them.
When does the game come out?
End of May.
Okay.
So
1 month or 2 months?
Yeah, 1 or 2 months afterwards, I can't remember. They will give you a download code for another free Wii U game, and the list is quite nice.
Cool.
Well, so like all of them, basically, because there aren't that many Wii U games.
Well, pretty much, yeah. Pikmin 3's on there, Wonderful 101, Wind Waker HD,
nice.
Sonic Lost World, which is why I'm interested.
Naturally. Because you don't want to pay for a shitty Sonic game, or a potentially shitty Sonic game.
All right.
That's great.
But yeah, it's pretty good.
So does that apply
on that list as well?
If you buy the, say you bought a bundle of the Wii U and Mario Kart, you'd still get that same offer, I guess, so that you effectively get 2 games in the bundle.
Yeah, if the copy of the game that comes in the bundle still has the Nintendo leaflet inside it, then yeah, sure.
Cool. Okay.
So yeah. Good. On top of that, they did another uber long Nintendo Direct, which I haven't watched, but it was all about Mario Kart. And the shock news was that the blue shell can be stopped.
Whoa! What? How?
By a single new item, I think.
Actually,
there's one item that can combat it, and it's called the super loud horn.
Oh, great!
But it's not nearly as cool as the one from Mario Kart GP. Horn. Yeah, the off-key horn. Although, in fairness, because I haven't watched the video, I don't actually know what the sound it actually makes is. But it's a weird-looking thing. It looks a little bit like a red Lego brick that they're just holding up awkwardly and is sort of going, or appears to be making some sort of animation that looks like sound.
Okay.
So what do you do? Do you deploy it when you're in first and someone's deployed?
Well, I think you can use it as a defense against the blue shell, because the blue shell does that thing that it has done for a few games where it orbits your car a couple of times to indicate that it's about to hit.
Right.
And you can use it then to avoid it. Otherwise, the blue shell is still going to fuck you over, on the last lap, as it normally does, which is disappointing. But I think the normal effect of the horn is to act a bit like a shockwave.
Right.
Like borrowing something from Sonic Racing Transformed and Blur that have all had that kind of weapon for a while.
Thing that comes out of you. Cool.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it. They announced the remaining roster characters, which I find a little annoying, because I would rather sort of have some surprises, I think. That's the whole joy of unlocking characters, isn't it? It's to know, just go, oh, there's they're in it. But no, they've just announced them all now. And it's, the last few were pretty shitty. One of them is a pink gold version of Peach, made of pink metal. And of course, one of them is Yeah, like to counteract Gold Mario, they had to make a female equivalent, so they made pink gold.
How about the Metal Mario though? He was
I know,
silver.
that makes more sense, right?
Well, sort of.
As much as Metal Mario makes sense.
Yeah.
Does it have the crazy Metal Mario music? That down. That was so good.
That's why they should have brought it back. It's just like, why do they need to make a whole new gold one?
That's the other thing, isn't it? The Mario Golf game on DS. If you buy into the season pass, isn't it? Yeah, you get Gold Mario.
Like they already had Metal Mario. Why gold?
Yeah. Where does it
just because it's gold, and they thought like, oh, this Metal Mario is silver, so that's like second place.
Yeah,
we need to go to maximum.
And it made really loud footsteps, didn't it? Bow, 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 bow. Running around with the metal cap on. What was the power of the metal cap? Was it made you super hardy or something? Or
you sunk underwater.
That's right.
Ran along the bottom,
and you were technically invincible.
Yeah,
that's right.
You just ran through everything.
It was cool.
That was cool. Yeah, that game's awesome. It's the regularly scheduled Mario 64 music section of the podcast.
I just remember getting that for the first time while I was the first time I was playing Mario 64, just going, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Man, that game is like, it's 18, right? It's like old enough to...
It's proper old.
To like drink and shit. And other stuff.
Well, I do have a broadside in my hand, so here's the Mario. Here's the Metal Mario.
Yeah, fuck Gold Mario.
Yeah.
It makes more sense for Gold Peach, though. That one does sort of make sense.
Or pink gold, I suppose, yeah.
It's not actually pink, though, really, is it?
Yeah, it sort of is. Well, it looks more like a shiny salmon colour.
Okay.
If we're being precise about it.
Because gold makes more sense in that case, because it's like she already has a crown, I guess, sometimes.
But she does wear pink.
Yeah, but God damn it.
Fuck pink.
That's not how that's meant to work. Mario goes silver. Or gold, apparently. He doesn't go red, gold.
It's not like there wasn't anything I suppose we wouldn't know, but there wasn't like a gold Mario power-up in like Super Mario 3D World or something.
There might have been.
Maybe it's got to have come from somewhere.
They fucked up their own... You mean wherever it came from, it was dumb of them, because they already had a perfectly good Metal Mario that they decided to abandon.
Well, unless it has different mechanics to Metal Mario.
Wow. Yeah, but how different could it be? It's very gold.
Gold's softer.
And heavier.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. I guess you don't know what Metal Mario is actually made of.
That's true.
Presumably not lead. He's a bit too shiny to be made of lead.
Can you polish lead?
I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah. But lead would be heavy enough for the sinking.
It's like heavier than... It's like...
He looks like some kind of iron.
Well, it's shiny. It's like chrome.
Well,
pure chrome.
Steel. Let's go with steel.
Yeah, that's probably most likely.
Stainless steel.
Indeed. Stainless steel variant.
Because stainless steel just has a bit of chromium in it, doesn't it? To make it...
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
More chemistry.
When people talk about chrome, they mean stainless steel, right? Like when they talk about... No, I mean on a car or something or whatever.
Oh, you're probably right.
But that's like a chrome... They do coat it, though, don't they?
It might be chrome plated.
So it's electroplated.
Chrome.
Yeah. Fair enough. That makes sense.
Not just stainless steel shininess.
I bet a lot of it is actually just stainless steel.
Yeah, probably. The cheapo one.
Yeah. So that was Mario Kart 8 news.
Yep.
I'm quite excited for that.
I sort of am. I just because
I'll play it at yours, obviously.
There's always a draw about it. The only thing I'm a little bit, I don't know, perhaps not excited about is the sound. It sounds like none of the structure has changed, and there's not really anything new about it.
Right.
In the sense that it's still there's still going to be the 8 cups, I suppose, of 4 tracks each. And it's still, that's the way you single play it. You go through all of the cups in all of the CCs.
What else would they do?
Well, I don't know. Like
what amazing design concept have you got here?
Well, it's just because coming off the back of me playing something like Sonic Racing Transformed, where the campaign structure was actually kind of a tree of events. Like, they didn't cup-ify it. They sort of like, everything was like a you did this one event, but occasionally there would be something weird about that event, like, or it would be a challenge game, like, oh, in this level you're not actually racing, you're trying to defeat this giant tank whilst driving around the track, and it's, I kind of want to see them do what the other people are doing with the kart racing and trying to throw in these other sort of little other things to sort of make playing it make the progression in single player both longer and slightly more interesting. I don't know. I think Sonic Racing Transformed has kind of spoilt me on the kart racer front because it was really good.
Well, it's good they have competition to, spur them on.
If you want to put that in the kart racing category, it's at least mixed up its events a little.
Well, yeah, that's the one thing that Mario Kart doesn't have.
I think it would really benefit from it. Oh, and new to the series for the first time, thanks to the gamepad, 5-player local multiplayer. It will do 4 on the screen and 1 in your hand.
But does the 5th kart do anything mysterious, or is it literally just
I think it's just a 5th player as far as I know. Yeah. Although they could have done something cool in battle mode, maybe, to make it asymmetric in some way, where one player's just there to fuck with everyone.
They might
looks
do
at the
that.
map and drops bombs all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, they are quite keen on asymmetric multiplayer with that thing, so who knows? They'll probably put something in there.
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't heard anything about that, and they're being surprisingly open,
right?
About that and Smash Brothers. It's almost like they don't want there to be any secrets ever anymore.
Why do you think that is?
Smash Brothers yet?
I don't know. Well, up until Nintendo Direct were always kind of, they played it the other way, didn't they? Like, pretty hard, and they didn't really tell you a lot about what was coming out until it came out.
Do you think it's influenced by, like, Wii U sales and stuff, whether they need to get people excited somehow, even if it means giving everything away?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they're going full throttle with trying to build up hype trains, which is not something Ninty have really had to do before.
No.
I don't think, because everyone has kind of done it for them.
Yeah.
And now the Wii U is starting to flounder, that maybe they sort of think, oh, actually, maybe we better do something about this. Yeah. But they've just perhaps gone too far. I don't know.
Well, we'll see. Maybe it'll work, but it's a bit disappointing for someone who wants a bit of mystery.
Well, and as I was telling you guys just before the cast, which is kind of a non-news thing, Iwata apparently has been talking about Nintendo's mystery pledge to move in a non-gaming direction, potentially.
Oh, yeah?
But, no one knows what the bloody hell they're talking about.
Right. Well, they keep talking about health, don't they?
Yeah, and non-wearable technology, whatever the hell they're talking about there.
Non-wearable. The best kind. All my favourite technology is non-wearable.
Anti-wearable. You put it on and it
flies straight off.
Yeah.
I know what's caused my eyes to go funny. On Friday before last, I tried a Google Glass.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
No.
Anyway,
what the heck is that like?
It wasn't really worth.
They're like $1,500, aren't they? Like,
yeah,
you can sort of actually just buy them now.
Well, only in America. But it turns out my boss's my boss's fiance is American, and they had friends, and they managed to get one for him and ship it over. So I don't think you can technically buy one in Britain, but they had a sale or a period where you could buy them in America or something. So he managed to get one. But it wasn't really working right. Like, I could see the screen, and it was pretty cool, seeing the image and stuff. But it wasn't properly working. Like, it wasn't. You're supposed to like tap the side to wake it up, and then I could talk to it, but it wasn't working right. Like, it wasn't accepting the commands. So there must have been something going on wrong with it. But anyway, I at least got to see the screen, and I managed to take one photo with it or whatever, and that seemed to work. It's still really dumb, but I mean, it is quite cool to actually see the holographic screen or whatever right in front of you. It is quite difficult, like, knowing where to look while you're using it, because you can just be like staring straight at someone and not looking at them because you're actually looking at a screen, which is really creepy and weird. But
yeah, I can imagine there must be something weird about. Wow, I'm kind of funny about eye contact at the best of times, but sort of like shifty eye movements combined with that.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite
weird. What are you looking at in the corner of the room? Are you not interested in me?
Because you're sort of staring
really
into
badly.
Exactly. You're just staring into middle distance, pretty much, trying to use it. And of course, it wasn't working. So all I heard across the office for like all morning was, "Okay, glass. Okay, glass. Okay, glass." Yeah. So
that's obviously why you can't buy it in England, because it doesn't have the accent software.
You might be right. Yeah.
Yeah. It would have had more luck. I don't think he managed to pair it to an Android. I think he was trying to pair it to an iPhone at one point, which does work. But obviously, you'd think an Android phone would be somewhat better, being as it's all Google. Yeah, just trying to not to look like a glass hole, pretty much. That's the key thing. Anyway,
is that a thing?
Yeah,
that's a thing.
Glass hole is the word.
The internet probably took about 2 seconds to come up with that.
It's quite good though. I quite like glass hole.
That's a good one.
It's almost as good as Xbone.
All they need to do now is describe, because they have already said, "Oh yeah, we'll think of something for people who actually wear glasses."
Yeah, they did say that, right? I mean, you can get. I mean, they already announced they've got like Ray-Ban like consulting on making a cooler looking frame for it, but I don't see why you couldn't.
$15,000.
Yeah, exactly. It would cost a fortune, but yeah. Anyway, I don't know if they'll make it a consumer device, or I don't know. Yeah.
Well, someone needs to be convinced in Google that it's going to have mass appeal, and because everyone's so critical of it, I guess.
Yeah, but the key guys really love it, don't they? Sergey and Larry or whatever.
I suppose they would, wouldn't they?
Unfortunately, because it's Google, they can't get bought by Facebook.
Yeah.
That's true.
Or maybe they could. I mean,
hey,
how much money does Facebook have?
You know what? That's a pretty great segue into
I know
Facebook and Oculus news.
That's why I was doing it.
Smooth.
Yeah. Go on then, Zag. What's the news? Lay it on us.
ZeniMax are trying to sue Facebook for money, basically. Pretty much.
Because of John Carmack.
Yeah.
ZeniMax claim that they are using code in Oculus Rift technology right now that Carmack wrote while he was at ZeniMax or at ID. Which is probably true. But then I don't know. There must be something weird in there in the contracts for this, because my understanding of most of contract law for employers working in software has always been, all right, if you write some code but you use our equipment on which to do it, we have ownership of that code. Yeah, it's like so. In theory, if you do it on your own time, using nothing belonging to the company you're working for, that code still belongs to you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I think that again, that's my understanding of how it normally works in the UK. By the sounds of it, that's not how it normally works in the US. It sounds like, well, you work for us, therefore everything you do is ours, bitch.
That's insane.
That sounds like the line ZeniMax are taking.
That makes it impossible to contribute to open source projects because you would implicitly, everything you wrote would be owned by whoever your employer was.
Exactly.
And then it would not be possible to contribute to open source.
Well, we don't really know about, maybe John Carmack just wrote this stuff on his work laptop at home.
Yeah.
It's like we don't actually know. And I think he tweeted, he did say that he sort of agrees that some of the code at some point could theoretically have been ZeniMax.
Well, yeah, here's the thing, because he was working on VR. The reason why I got involved in Oculus in the first place is he described as a toy project his own adventures in VR, basically. Yeah. He was working on it before he got together with Oculus. So perhaps some of what he wrote for his own projects has sort of filtered its way down into Oculus.
I mean, the reality is, isn't it?
Here's the weird thing, though. If he just knew what it was and just rewrote it, is that technically the same code?
Well, that is the bigger problem.
Then you've got
any code copywriting. Where it's I've just written the same thing again, but in a different time, in a different place.
Then you're into IP infringement for code, which is a weird ass bit of law. Yeah.
I mean, the reality is the only reason that ZeniMax are doing this is because of the Facebook thing. Yeah, exactly. It's because they think they calculate they can squeeze some money out of Facebook, which they probably can. But they wouldn't normally do this. Like, they wouldn't have done this to Oculus.
They wouldn't normally do this, apart from they did it to like scrolls. So there's precedence for them doing it.
No.
It's still not.
Yeah, it's
still only because of money, but
it's not
like they haven't done it before.
It only happened. Well, ZeniMax didn't, did they? Because that was Candy Crush.
No, Scrolls. As in Scrolls, the Mine Mojang versus the Elder Scrolls.
Sorry, I forget Bethesda's involved in that. Yeah.
So Bethesda and ZeniMax.
ZeniMax, I think, are the owning.
Yeah, they own
Bethesda.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because an idea are part of Bethesda. Yeah,
right. That's right. And so are whoever makes Elder Scrolls. What are they called? Just Bethesda, isn't it? No.
Yeah, I don't know. You've been playing it recently. What?
Well, it only says Bethesda in the new one. I think technically it's like Bethesda Softworks or something.
Right, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
There's some first-party studio for Bethesda.
But yeah, so it's not like they haven't done the exact same thing before, basically, where they were like, "Oh, we can see some money in this dumb, like incredibly tortuous logic of copyright infringement."
Yeah. Yep. Well, Facebook can afford to pay them off. I mean, that's just
what's going to happen, clearly.
Probably, yeah.
I read some ridiculous stat about how much money Candy Crush makes. It's like, I think it's $1 million a day.
Yeah,
just in free-to-play revenue. It's unbelievable.
I don't know if it's that unbelievable.
You see how many
people do you think
requests, from people trying to get you to play Candy Crush Saga on Facebook. God damn it. But I mean, what are these people doing? Like, are they buying candies, or I haven't even? I'm quite ignorant.
You buy apparently like Extra Credits did a sort of breakdown on what they think is the secret sauce in Candy Crush recently. And their theory is that the bulk of the revenue comes from this idea that in order to complete a level, you have a limited number of moves.
Yeah.
But obviously, when the game ends, you can see how many moves it could take to finish the goal of the level. And so one of the things they sell you is additional moves.
Yeah. So
you can be like, I'm so close, and then people drop cash to
just finish and see the solution, which was...
Because further extrapolating this, it's not like every level is fixed, because the next time you load it up, it may have the same board and the same goal, but the actual colours of the candies on the screen will be randomised.
Right.
So it's like it's the same problem, but not. And so you can't just... if you want to get through the level using the solution you already know, it will cost you money.
It's crazy.
It's kind of evil, but
yeah, it's evil. Yeah,
sort of genius at the same time.
They're British, aren't they? The Candy Crush people, and didn't they? Is that right?
Yeah, I think they might be. Yeah,
and they floated on the stock exchange the other day, and it didn't go very well.
No, because they valued themselves at some insanely high value.
Right, that's
like
right.
Billions or something, and then they floated, and it's like, no,
you retards.
Yeah.
Well. They're probably worth something, given they're making.
Oh yeah, they are. They're just a profit sponge at the moment. They're like how Zynga used to be.
Used to be, yeah. But I mean, how long can it last?
I mean, they've overtaken Farmville finally as like most popular Facebook game.
Yeah, that's clear just from looking at Facebook that Farmville is down. And
I don't have anyone asking me to find their lost cows anymore.
No, that seems to have stopped. Whereas the Candy Crush thing, yeah.
Because Candy Crush is like an actual game.
Yeah, that's true. Well, at least that's an improvement.
Arguably. I'll give them that. Yeah. I, having never wanted to try and play it because of all the crap I receive on Facebook, it's hard to put an objective judgment on it. So I just kind of hate the idea of it.
Yep, naturally.
So that all happened. That was kind of interesting.
Cool.
Plants vs. Zombies news.
Yes.
PC version comes out very shortly.
Oh, interesting.
And
they're Origin.
The Origin, yeah. But they are finally introducing microtransactions. Because the game, as I mentioned before, the game's design kind of seems to have been built with that in mind.
Yep.
Sure.
But they just didn't turn them on. And the game works well enough with them not turned on. So all they've said that they're going to do, and I don't really have a problem with this, is it can, if you want, spend real money to gain coins, and coins are the only currency in the game, so it's stuff you can earn. And with coins, you still have to buy the random packs, so you're not using real money to buy specific things. It's just sort of a pay money if you want to unlock the random customizables faster.
Right.
Which,
kind of
if
like
you really
buying
want
keys
to do that.
in
Yeah,
Tier 2,
exactly.
right?
If you really want to do that, I do not have a problem with that. And it doesn't affect the balance for the rest of us. So, whatever.
Cool. So like
PC
a
version,
good
though.
kind of TF2 style approach to microtransactions.
Yeah. But, I just wanted to bring that up because I'm sort of championing Plants vs. Zombies at the moment because I love it so much.
Are you thinking of checking out the PC version? I mean, it's no real need, but...
Well, I don't know. I'd probably not. It depends if you get, like everything, depends if you guys would be interested in playing it. It's not something I want to... Well, not that I got given my copy, so it's not like I splurged for that either.
No.
But,
it seems pretty nice on the Xbox, though.
yeah, it's pretty great. It's pretty great.
So if they put that in, when is that stuff going in? Or can you buy coins now on the Xbox One?
No, it's not. It's not come out on all that stuff hasn't come out on Xbone yet. I think it's all going to come out at once when the PC version launches. So the PC version will launch with that stuff, I think.
Makes sense.
And then presumably the patch for the Xbox can't be far behind.
No cross-platform play.
No.
Okay, that makes sense.
Although I don't
know. Does it make sense? Because they could theoretically use, because it's like Titanfall already uses the same servers in theory, but presumably they have to run slightly different.
Apparently, they don't use Azure to run PvZ servers.
Yeah,
right.
Apparently, they use like whatever EA normally does.
Because presumably they don't care as much about. They don't need as many, and they don't care if how shitty it is.
Yeah,
potentially.
I don't know. But they are, as far as I can tell, they are dedicated servers still.
Yeah.
But apparently, they're not part of the Xbox Live, the normal Xbox Live offering.
They're using all the SimCity servers that no one cares about any longer.
Probably. If you've got to find a use for them.
Because no one's using them any longer. Offline.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see the stats on SimCity the moment the offline patch dropped, whether everyone who was still playing it immediately went offline, just to spite everyone.
We'll never know that, I'm sure. It's not something they'll ever want to admit to.
No.
That's true.
Well, not until perhaps they're working on another SimCity game and they have developer commentaries or whatever they're saying. These guys, maybe you'd hear a tidbit saying, "Well, people didn't really take to the online play."
Man, imagine working on the next SimCity. That would be
no pressure,
poison chalice there. Yeah, Jesus.
Well, in fairness, could they make it any worse? Is it guaranteed win? Because if they just make a average SimCity game, it's still better than SimCity.
It's quite hard to make an average SimCity game, though. I think that's it's not just making another shooter or whatever.
Not Transport Tycoon. What's the other one? Industry Giant.
That wasn't.
That's not really, is it?
You mean Cities XL?
That was the SimCity game.
I suppose Cities XL, yeah. Although I know very little about that. Or if that's just not really a game, and it's just make a city. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it. I guess Tropico or something, maybe. I don't know. That's more like the Settlers, though, isn't it? I don't know. There's nothing really that's like SimCity.
No. No one actually bothers trying to make actual simulations. As not that SimCity really succeeded in trying to do that, but they tried.
Well, I wonder if anyone, at least when SimCity 4 was about, I wonder if anyone sort of really thought, well, how can it really get much better than this?
Well, it's because there's no, it's
a bit like why Roller Coaster Tycoon just got reached its peak with the first 2 games,
well, it's
and then got bad.
Well, it's because they can't really. There's no space for competition in that kind of thing. Whereas SimCity is like a city simulator, and there's no way you can't make a competing product because it's exactly the same apart from maybe you've simulated it slightly differently.
Yeah, what exactly?
Or Roller Coaster Tycoon, it's you're not really. There's nothing you can do. Or very few things you can do to make it actually different.
Well, in fairness, Roller Coaster Tycoon did do theme park but different.
Yeah, but
They actually achieved
theme
that.
park was like well old.
I suppose.
It's like that was.
Well, then again, Roller Coaster Tycoon wasn't far off the theme park or whatever it was called, wasn't it? When they tried to 3Dify it all.
Yeah, but that wasn't really that. When they tried to 3Dify it all, they didn't really do anything to the simulation. It was still like shitty theme park.
Right.
Just looked better, arguably.
I remember really desperately trying to figure out how the bloody hell theme park worked on the Amiga. And then eventually realising this is a bloody terrible version of this game, like when you had the PC one. It's like, yeah, the Amiga version of just really didn't work.
And of course, it's not actually as complicated as it seemed at the time.
No.
Even now that we can look back on it, it's like, you just put loads of salt on the chips and then you charge tons of drinks.
Yep.
And then you win.
Problem solved.
That's the only thing I really remember about the theme park. Was those 2 sliders or whatever.
How difficult it was to build roller coasters.
Well,
yeah,
it wasn't
the roller coasters
necessarily
themselves.
that.
It was just the construction tools were terrible for roller coasters, so it was actually kind of hard to build anything.
Yeah.
You only had that one kind, right?
Mm.
It wasn't. It wasn't
The
like
orange kind.
That was where Roller Coaster Tycoon really came into its own with all the different types of.
Well, yeah, because basically they made building the roller coasters interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Like all the other rides were just sort of, fuck it, whatever. It's going to sit in a square and do its own thing. But when you're building a roller coaster, there was actually like challenge to building a type of coaster to fit your needs.
Hmm.
It was cool. Evil Land. Black and green colour scheme throughout the entire park.
That was pretty good. I remember having a coaster called the Pink Panther that was so successful that I had to just save the design and just stamp it into every park that I built, because I was like, I made this awesome coaster that made tons of money. Because usually you just go a bit far and it's a bit too extreme or something.
Yeah.
I had one called Accidents Will Happen. That was quite extreme. That made everyone throw up.
Heard that Alton Towers was having some problems with some of its roller coasters. Like a bit fell off the Smiler.
Okay.
Like one of the I don't know what you want to call them, but the sort of collections of wheels fell off one corner of a cart.
Man, that's quite a bad one.
Yeah.
Sometimes nuts fall out of them, and that's like, that's regular maintenance problems.
Yeah. It's like that, that cluster of 4 wheels that grips around the track.
Yeah.
Apparently one of those fell off.
But
that's really
3 more,
bad.
so we're okay.
I might be exaggerating. This is like second-hand knowledge. I didn't read the actual article. I was told this, but so I could be.
Yeah. So that could just be.
I haven't verified.
Hyperbole.
Yeah, I haven't verified my source. But
that's what we're known for on the Saladcast.
Yeah.
Accurate news.
Yeah, totally not theoretical news.
Yeah.
But no one was hurt. Nothing was wrong. The other 3 clusters held the carts on just fine.
I don't think that's a way. I wonder if that's actually like built into like the design of roller coasters.
Redundancy of.
Yeah, like what percentage redundancy is there on those kind of things?
Presumably,
if an entire one out of these 4 things falls off, it will still work.
I bet that's it though, because if you lost one,
I imagine if you lost 2, then it probably wouldn't.
Oh dear.
I've been on that roller coaster as well. It's a slightly scary thing.
It's not slightly scary. Like
But
the whole
it's
concept of roller coasters, that even working at all, is slightly scary.
I
You don't have to
guess.
worry about shit falling off them, because that's just like.
Well, no, but you don't really hear about shit falling off them very often. It's like they're normally built pretty well. Normally. At least from somewhere as big as Alton Towers.
They must get heavily used. Think how many people in the whole country must have been on that one coaster.
They get heavily used. They have to be thoroughly checked every day.
Yeah.
They have to have engineers on site every morning to check it over and run it a few times and all that stuff. So they do take it
Just like
seriously.
in Roller Coaster Tycoon, where you did those little test runs and shit.
Well, yeah, and then you just left them running for eternity.
Yeah, of course.
Did they get old in Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Yeah, you had to repair them, didn't you? You had.
I didn't know if they would have been built for ages. Did they break down more often as they got
they
old?
did.
Or?
That was the only effect, though. They didn't really get. Well,
They didn't really get bits falling off.
No, I think they got less popular when they were old as well, didn't they?
Oh yeah, I remember that. It's like this has been here a while. Like people would start saying,
Maybe.
in those thought bubble things.
Possibly.
Because you couldn't zone in on a person and get the English of what they were thinking,
Yeah.
rather than the symbols.
Well, they didn't really have symbols.
Didn't they?
No.
Or did they? Or did they have? Oh no, symbols was theme park thing.
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
They just had little animations.
Yeah.
Damn, that game was cool.
And there's never going to be a decent iPad version, or whatever.
What was his face? Because it was someone's roller coaster tycoon, wasn't it?
Chris Sawyer.
Chris Sawyer didn't have his name on it.
It
Had
did.
my
Didn't it?
name on it.
It did have Chris
Like a
Sawyer's
grill.
name, didn't it?
I don't think it did.
Because he made the whole goddamn thing in
Yeah, but he
assembler.
doesn't. He didn't put his name on things like the other famous people
like
who put
Sid
their names
Meier.
on things. Yeah.
Sid Meier. Oh, okay. Because he was Transport Tycoon as well, right? Was he?
I think so. Yeah.
Whereas Railroad Tycoon, that was Sid Meier.
Yeah. It was also big. Tycoon. And then everyone just got a bit like Tycoon game crazy, I suppose. Someone bought the brand, I suppose, at some point, and then everything after that was shit.
I don't think someone bought the brand.
Apart from
Yeah.
Lively
I
Tycoon.
don't think there actually was a brand, which is why a lot
Yeah.
of them were shit, because random people were just like,
Hmm.
Pizza Tycoon!
I guess.
Yeah, I think Railroad Tycoon and Transport Tycoon, other than being like similar products, I think they were completely unrelated.
Yeah.
Obviously, Transport Tycoon took this concept and went a bit further and was a
Someone
bit
must
better.
own it now, surely.
What, the Tycoon? Well,
Tycoon brand.
somebody owns Transport Tycoon, obviously, and Roller Coaster Tycoon, but I don't know about the totality of the Tycoon. I don't think it exists, like Zach says. Well, you'd think
maybe
it would,
you're right.
wouldn't you? But I
It's
don't
just
think
something about the font they use, like especially on Zoo Tycoon, like the really recent one. It looks like the same font almost that they used on
Right.
Roller Coaster Tycoon. That sort of bubbly text.
That was all
by the
kind of
same-
3D-ified,
That was by the
wasn't
same
it?
studio, wasn't it?
What, Zoo Tycoon?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about the one that's just come out on Xbone.
Yeah, I think that was still by the same people who made the original Zoo Tycoon.
Oh, is it?
Still
Not,
hanging around.
but not Roller Coaster Tycoon.
I don't know what the link between
Yeah.
old and Zoo Tycoon.
I don't know. It's just like, the font. If I was just going visual similarities only, then
Agreed.
bullshit. Time over. Right? Anyone got any more
Yeah.
news?
Yeah, that was some total news. Total news.
Nope. I'm ready.
No, I haven't got a lot else really.
Cool. Let's
Oh,
move
there's
on.
a new Pokemon game coming.
Oh,
it's
what
not a
surprise.
Pokemon game.
Exactly what definition of Pokemon game are we talking about here? 'Cause
It's Pokemon Art Studio. They're doing another one of those.
Is that like
another one.
Apparently, there's been one before.
Okay, fair enough.
I
Not-
didn't
it's
know
not like-
about it
It's
until
not
I
just
read
like
this.
Mario Paint.
Yeah, that's what I was
No.
thinking. Mario Paint.
But it's
style.
like they do try and teach you how to draw the Pokemon, and they go from like being pen things where you trace things to actually doing full on like
Right.
art material shading and stuff like that on your 3DS.
Yeah.
So it seemed like more of a package than I anticipated.
They have. I don't know if it's the same company, but there has been quite a few of those kind of things for the 3DS, like
It probably
art
is,
drawing programs.
Yeah, probably would be the same guys, I guess.
There was some apparent news
Art
last night.
Tycoon.
Yeah, exactly. There was some apparent news last night of Infinity Ward and Neversoft have merged.
Oh yeah.
Oh, really?
Because what the fuck were Neversoft even doing? So
Well, they've been just doing random extra stuff for the Call of Duty franchise for years.
Yep. So now they're just doing the Call of Duty franchise because they're part of the Infinity Ward.
Well, that sort of makes sense. I guess Infinity Ward might have needed propping up for a while after they lost like a ton of their guys a few years back.
Yep. So basically, neither of those companies are at all to do with the actual, what you would.
They're no longer Infinity Ward are no longer Infinity Ward, and Neversoft are no longer Neversoft. is
Yeah,
what it basically-
Neversoft no longer are the people who made Tony Hawk or anything.
but they're just called Infinity Ward now.
Yeah.
I did see the trailer for the new Call of Duty. Colour me intrigued again.
God damn it.
Ghost
What's
was
this
definitely
one
a shit
called?
year. Oh, this one's called Advanced Warfare.
And is
So
this
they-
Treyarch? then?
No, this is Sledgehammer. This is the new studio.
The third
Yeah.
team.
Oh,
Get
Christ.
used to the 3 years.
Again, I think Sledgehammer have been involved in a sort of helper role in Call of Duty before, but this is the first one that they've been working on solely. Yeah, and they're going very future tech on this one,
Of
which
course.
is, obviously for Advanced Warfare, I guess. But, given how much I liked Black Ops, the fact that they're doing something different again seems nice.
Right.
Just going balls out crazy with it this time. Like, even more future stuff. Let's just go for it.
Well, they haven't just gone for it though. That's the trouble. They're not actually going to do
Well, they're sort of wearing exoskeletons this time.
Yeah, but they're still not. They're not going to actually go to Space Marines
Probably not, no.
because then it wouldn't be Call of Duty.
But there's energy weapons now. It's not just bullet guns.
What sort of energy weapons?
Don't know. Lasers, I guess.
Yeah, was that? Yeah, but
Like pew pew.
but then is it like bullshit lasers or is it like actual
I
lasers?
don't know. Probably not.
Or like Halo style lasers, or just like or like more
Probably like
realistic.
plasma guns or something.
Is it actually going to be just like heat weaponry, basically?
Yeah, I don't know. But they've got Kevin Spacey on board as probably the bad guy
What?
Great.
Yeah,
Why? Why would he do that?
because he's not doing a lot.
Well,
And Call of Duty has shit tons of money.
yeah,
I
maybe.
forgot- They just released that
The Snoop Dogg
Snoop
pack.
Dogg
I think we talked about that before. But holy cow, I want to see what that's like. That'll be the one reason I want. Like, I need to go to Kippers' house. Just-
force him to buy it.
Yeah, force him to buy it for his copy of Ghosts, and then just laugh at it forever. Because Snoop Dogg.
Because Snoop Dogg, obviously, smoke weed every day.
Yeah. Faux show.
Oh, it's got to be the best. So
I kind of
when was
like what
that
COD
due-
Light have been doing with their DLC stuff. Like, play as the Predator. Just go stupid with it. Makes it more interesting.
Have they got that? Play as the Predator.
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
Are you like
They just gone-
super powerful?
No.
No, you're right. It's just a
The
skin.
skin.
It's just a
Yeah,
skin.
right.
But
That's lame.
they are at least they're going a bit bonkers with stuff this time round.
That's not bonkers. That's
Compared to what they normally do, it is.
well, I don't know. Like, presumably, even though I can't imagine who is making the money from that, but the Predator must have just been like a cash, a tie-in to give
what?
someone. Yeah, I was like, who even owns the Predator as a like IP?
Ridley
But-
Scott. I don't know.
Some film studio, I presume.
Yeah, presumably.
Got free.
But then, obviously Snoop Dogg wants money, so that's where the tie-in comes there.
Snoop Dogg seems a bit desperate at the moment if he's doing money supermarket ads.
That's true. That is really weird. I don't.
Your
Damn it.
soul money supermarket.
He needs money to spend on weed, obviously. I don't know.
Dem hoes aren't going to feed themselves.
I guess he must be thinking that like no one in America will care if he does
No, probably not.
money supermarket adverts in Britain, so he can like do all the embarrassing things here.
He needs to go to like Japan then.
Yeah,
that's the
that's
classic
true.
market for ridiculous TV adverts.
That is true. That works. Yeah. I think David Beckham might have a lock on that place though.
So that Friends episode where Joey is trying to sell Ichiban male lipstick. Blue. Ichiban.
Itchy bun.
Yes.
So that's the end of news, I guess.
That's the end of news. So,
I think so, yeah.
so we move on to what you've been playing. Who wants to go first this week? Silence.
Nobody.
I was just going to hold on to that, see who reacts.
I'm calling on Zach. What you've
Okay.
been playing, man?
Wow. The previous week.
Previously on.
The
Previously on the
week.
Saladcast.
So this week
Yes, 2 weeks ago.
was
No,
another one of those weird weeks where I didn't really want to play anything somehow. But I kept thinking I wanted. It was really, really annoying. I had one of those moments where I was just like, I really want to play something, but I can't find the thing that fits this hole.
Yeah, I hate that feeling.
Whereas, like, I want to play something that's sort of like SimCity, but it's not SimCity, so what the fuck is it?
Sim Farm.
Yeah, exactly. But I never actually did get round to playing anything
Sim
else
Ant.
that might have filled that hole. So I just had a really awkward week where nothing felt like I wanted to really do it.
I hate that because I don't get it for the length of time you do. It's normally like on a weekday or something after work or something, and I'm sat there going, I can't be asked to do any video work for the Saladcast right now. I can't be asked to tag up the podcast properly, right? Because I've got.
Let's just talk about all the things Rob's not doing for this website.
I know. I can't be asked to work on some music or something,
right?
Because I went through a small phase of getting back into that.
Well, it's only because you got your old files and then you had
I had a few ideas,
re-inspiration,
and then they all went.
Yep, naturally.
So then, so I have moments where I can't be asked to do any of that. There's probably some things I should be doing, I don't know, maintenance or paperwork or something, keeping my life in order.
Yeah.
I can't be asked to do any of that shit. I need to play a game, but I don't know what the fuck I want to play. So then I end up sitting there just sort of go,
yeah.
What do I actually want to do with myself? And then I spend half an hour just staring at Steam or something while Gnome is going, are you going to do something?
Yeah,
you can have the television if you want. And it's I don't know.
It sucks.
Help me.
Too much choice. Only sort of.
# first world problems.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was. So what I actually did during that week. Well, I was still playing Bravely Default. Still,
of course,
we're still talking about that game.
No.
Yeah.
Mainly because, the warranty is about to expire on my 3DS, and I still haven't got round to sending it back to fix the other speaker. So I'm so I had this idea that maybe I could just make a push and finish Bravely Default before I had to send the 3DS away. Not that it took very long. It only took less than a week to come back last time. And that was a much more complicated problem than just a broken speaker. Well, apart from it was really just a broken camera, I guess. But they had to test it to work out exactly what was wrong with it, because it was a bit of a weird problem. But yeah, so I had this idea that I might finish Bravely Default before then, but I don't think I'm gonna, because it still takes quite a long... Still a lot of that game left.
This is just purely out of you're slightly worried that they'll have to... or send you a refurb or something.
Well, no, because I've got Bravely Default on an actual cartridge, so it's not even
so it saves on the cartridge. Even on cartridge versions of the game, it's still saving on the cartridge.
Yeah.
That's all right.
So yeah, well, it's not really there's no reason, apart from I just wanted to, get it done before this week where I won't have it at all, I suppose.
In case you lose...
In case I forget or something.
Or lose momentum.
Yeah.
Do what I do with RPGs.
And I'm right near the end, in theory. Because I finally got through World 4.
That whole bit of game just sounds rough.
Well, it got more interesting than World 4, because World 4 was the one where they actually remixed all the bosses, where it was just you're basically fighting 3 bosses at a time in different combinations. And it's actually... although, as I was talking about last time, we were talking about it on the podcast.
How do you manage to get past that guy? Or that 3 guys? Or whatever it was.
It's that first one that I was having trouble with, it turned out I was on the right track, basically, because I did the thing that I suggested, where in order to prevent that guy exploding and killing everyone, I did just have to heal him. So I just kept healing him while I was fighting the other 2 off,
right? Until
they were both dead, and then it was safe to allow him to explode.
Right.
So yeah, I was on the right track with that. But then that was by far the hardest set of bosses for World 4. The rest of them I pretty much just breezed through, more or less, using my same tactic, the counter tactic.
I gotta admit, I do kind of find the puzzle element of some of these fights just still sound cool.
Yeah.
Although I'm not sure I'd have the patience for figuring it out, but
Yeah. So there seems to be even fewer side quest markers in World 5. At least, well, maybe they might, because sometimes you'll get a side quest marker where there's actually 2 in the same place or whatever. So they've probably reused all the bosses again, like they did in World 4, I imagine, just in a different order. So yeah, only one more world to go, supposedly, and then an actual final boss, probably,
or another whole sequence.
Well, there might be one more dungeon or something.
Does that put you on last chapter or something then?
Yeah, apparently chapter 8. So yeah,
that's a long game though.
It's a bloody long game.
Yeah, it is, and I'm still not fully leveled on jobs or experience points or whatever. I could theoretically grind it out a bit more if I wanted. I haven't got. I'm on the last level. There's only one job that I haven't seen all of the things you can get from, and I'm on the last level of that job. As in, I've leveled up each of the jobs on at least one character to maximum, apart from this last one. So yeah, I don't expect there'll be anything interesting. It doesn't look like it's going to be. that last job is a bit boring. So yeah, get through that. And the other reason I kind of wanted to get that out of the way is because, well, during that time when I was thinking about, like, what the fuck do I want to play, one of the things that I thought about playing, because I was like, yeah, I could go for that again, I wanted to go back to fucking Pokemon Mystery Dungeon again. So I was like, yeah, that game's awesome.
Okay.
But then I was like, no, I can't. My DS is committed to getting through Bravely Default. I must finish this before I fucking start playing that game again. That's another, like, 20 or 30 hours.
If you pick up this device, this is what you must do.
Yeah.
Okay. So you stuck to Bravely Default.
Yeah, I just about managed to. Oh, but then the other thing I did on the 3DS, which is actually new, was like I played the demo of the Mario Golf.
Yeah, you showed me that. It looks pretty cool.
I mean, it's fine. It's just
Mario Golf.
It's just another Mario Golf game, really.
Well, nothing's really changed, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
It's a proper Camelot game, right? A proper Mario Golf.
Yeah, although the demo doesn't show you any of that. It's just like play some holes. It will have a dumb RPG aspect to it where you buy your equipment or whatever and improve your stats. And that worked well enough in the GBA one, and not GBA, Game Boy, even older than that.
Yeah, it was GBC, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was amazing, that 2D golf, the Mario Golf on the GBC.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
It was a great game.
Well, yeah, that and the Mario Tennis GBC games were pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But it's a shame none of the RPG elements at the time made it to the console versions.
No, exactly. But now they're back.
Well, I thought they did. You could get characters in.
Yeah, you could transfer.
Yeah, you could use the fucking Nintendo 64 transfer pack or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
Plug the goddamn Game Boy cartridge into it and then transfer your characters into. Well, not actually your characters, because it was just.
That's right.
I don't think it brought their stats.
Because I obviously had that thing because my brother had the Pokemon Stadium. Yeah, so he had the transfer thingy.
And someone did it at some point to my copy of Mario Tennis.
Yes. So you have those characters unlocked.
Yeah, I have those two weird guys.
Yeah,
I can't remember. They presumably took the names of whoever was using it. So
I don't know about that. It might just be their generic names.
Phil. I don't know. For some reason, the name Phil is springing to mind.
Okay.
I remember sitting and watching, like, basically the entire Masters with my parents, and I was just playing Mario Golf on Game Boy Color.
So you weren't really watching the Masters.
I wasn't really watching at all. Yeah,
but every time you played a shot, were you hearing some Dave Brubeck in your head?
I think that was before that. So yeah, that was that. And then I'm trying to remember the things that I've actually been playing apart from the one main thing. I mean, I've also played like bits and pieces of Guild Wars. Nothing's actually happening in Guild Wars. I finished off my last month's monthlies because I was like, I got most of the way through that, and I was like, yep, I can actually finish that finally, get my reward for the month, and then probably not do this month. Although this month might be actually easier because the categories for the monthlies, I can't remember what it is, because normally I do like jumping puzzles as one of them for monthly categories, just because that's easy. You just go to the jumping puzzles. You go to the easy jumping puzzles, the ones that you know how to do. Or more importantly, you could do the ones in the fucking Sylvari Forest where there's the spiral, which leads directly into the stupid dark enclave, and those count as two separate jumping puzzles. So that gets you two immediately, and that's quite an easy set. So yeah, I probably won't bother unless something actually happens in Guild Wars, because they're taking their break. Yeah. After the living story.
It would make sense after how much they were churning out before.
Well, yeah,
they're probably preparing what the hell they're going to do for the next.
It's like everyone was. Well, not everyone. Like quite a lot of people were saying, it's just like you don't have to churn it out quite so quick. Maybe we could have like monthly updates, and that would probably be okay.
Well, especially for people like me who aren't in it so often.
Yeah.
It's like.
Although maybe people were just saying that because they were like.
Or maybe they were
grinding the loot so much.
Yeah, a bit fatigued.
They were grinding the loot so much, and they were like, "Just leave it on this one where we're getting tons of loot.
Yeah,
we'll just carry on doing this for another 2 weeks."
That can work.
And then in the category of things that I jumped into randomly for not very long, and there's not much to say about, there's some more Team Fortress, which I've been finding. This is going to sound incredibly unlikely for my Team Fortress, but I've been finding it almost slightly boring.
Really?
Really?
I think it's just because I've been playing on like shitty. Well, I've been playing on Valve servers because obviously there's not as much population as there used to be.
None of the servers we used to populate tend to.
They're either empty or they're full, and
Yeah.
I'm not patient enough to wait for space. So I'm just like, fuck it, I'll just go to one of these goddamn Valve servers with like 19 people in. That's good enough. But then the trouble is, like, maybe it's just because or maybe it's still like this in the servers we normally play in as well. But it's just like no one's good any longer.
Well,
the teams are always terrible, and they're always horribly balanced, and it scrambles every goddamn round because it can't work out how to balance the teams correctly.
Well, there was always something about the hilarity of playing at Hampshire Heavies, wasn't there? Like the talkers.
Well, yeah, they were quite hardcore, really.
Yeah, they were pretty hardcore, and you got
it was an actual challenge.
The regulars would always talk to each other over the public chat. It was just
apart from us, of course.
Apart from us, yeah. But it was a pretty cool place to be, But yeah,
so I just like going onto these random Valve servers, and it's like, some people have bad pings, but I wouldn't say that's actually a problem. I don't really notice it that much. Apart from one guy where I was like, Jesus, he's lagging, and I look at his ping, and it's perfectly fine, compared to these other people who have like 200, and I'm like, well, that's weird. Am I laggy? But no, he was just weird. Something weird about his connection, maybe. But yeah, I know
not a lot has changed, but now just the fact that you're talking about Team Fortress is making me want to play Team Fortress.
Yeah, I know, totally. That's what happens to me every time. As soon as I think about
how does this game still have this control over me? Like, someone just talks about it, and it's like, I really want to play Team Fortress.
It's super awesome. But yeah.
But after, like, how bloody long has it been now? So long. So long.
But so I think my problem with these servers and why I've been finding it slightly boring in some cases, apart from... Well, it's because of the way the shit teams are shit and always really badly balanced, and and you don't get people playing the classes that people need played.
Yeah,
I mean medics.
Bloody hell! There's such a lack of medics. Like last few times we've played, and it's like, I better fucking go medic again.
Well, I never go medic, even if there's no medics. I'm just like, fuck that. I'm not fucking playing medic.
The problem is I'm not a bad medic.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not that I enjoy it that much compared to shooting stuff.
I don't want to play medic, even though I'm okay at playing medic. But yeah, so my problem is that because of the shitty team balance, I can't play the classes I actually like playing. It's like I only like playing Scout and Bow Sniper, but I haven't played Bow Sniper for ages because in order to play Bow Sniper, you kind of need a sort of reasonably decent team because you need a shield basically. You need to move with people. You can't be on your own. Well, you can, but it's not very effective.
I don't really have a thing anymore in Team Fortress because like the last few times we've played, I've just been mixing it up so much. That I don't really have a role. But the problem is that means I'm sort of equally shit as everyone.
Exactly. And then it's like I can't play Scout because inevitably there's 4 goddamn Scouts already because fucking no one knows what the hell they're doing. Somehow always have a Scout. So like what I've mostly been playing is just tons of goddamn Pyro. And it's like...
Pyro's just always fun, though. Well, even on bad teams, Pyro's just kind of...
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the class I go to because it's the generic class that I can always reliably... It's like it just fits in with regardless of what everyone else is playing.
Pretty much,
I can always play Pyro. But it's just like... and because I'm slightly good and, you know, you're getting these terrible Valve servers where people are bad...
Modesty.
Yep. So I said slightly. Because these people are terrible and I'm awesome. It's just like it becomes sort of like too easy when it's just like, and I'm playing the weird way I play Pyro with like the quick switching where all I'm doing is like air blasting people in the air and then switching to the shotgun to mini crit them all the time. And it's just like, this really shouldn't be working this well. And I'm just like totally destroying everyone.
I don't remember that ever really working that well. Like, you know, it's sort of, you know, blowing someone into a corner and then fire axing them, obviously.
Yeah, that was the classic one.
Yeah. But the shotgun one, that shouldn't work. People should be sort of aware that that's coming or at least fight back. And...
Well, it's hard. I guess it is hard to do anything about, really.
Yeah, I guess.
That's the trick to that thing. It's not quite as fast as the fire axe, but it gives you more flexibility to like have at least some range in some cases. But yeah, so it's just like when I'm doing that and I'm like, why is this so easy? It's not actually difficult to do this at all.
I know, I always found like it was tricky to get the pushback to sometimes give them enough height to actually whip out the shotgun fast enough.
It doesn't really matter in most cases because it's like, you get one shot and that's enough a lot of the time. And of course, because it's Team Fortress, it can be quite kind of like lenient on what counts as being in the air.
Right, yeah.
Because you'll find like you'll bump people and they'll like hit stairs and they won't actually be in the air, but because they're still like on a slope, it like fucks up the registration and then it still counts even though they look like they're on the floor.
Right, yeah. I've had problems with that. Yeah, that shotgun, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Reserve shooter, is it? Yeah. Where that's had that effect. Even on people where there's just a flat surface.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I've mini-critted like just kept like repeatedly against someone just running.
Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know. I seem to do really well with it, but it's not as fun.
Well, yeah, you don't want to just walk it all the time, surely.
Well, I wouldn't. It's just like I don't like necessarily playing that class as much as some of the other classes. Those two other classes that I like playing. But yeah, it gets me quite some ridiculous score occasionally. Where it's just like, I've got twice as much score as the second person on our team because what the fuck is everyone else on this server doing, apparently? So yeah, that's Team Fortress for you.
Can you be playing in that and like waiting on the heavies or whatever?
Yeah, you could technically, but
yeah.
Not like the UK CS servers where they have their dumbass reserve slot system, so you can't use the auto join.
It's pretty annoying.
Fuck that.
That is pretty annoying.
Yeah, as the old saying goes. So yeah, that was Team Fortress, and then another thing that I didn't play very much of was Titanfall because I only got into that like once. Because that's another game where I was just like, I don't know why, but with Titanfall, I feel like I have to play it in like this very small window of time in the evening where I think like I'm not going to be playing against the super hardcore people because this will be like when the most number of people will be at home.
Right. Like
all the school kids and all the adults who are doing this in their evening will be at home, so it will be the most widely ranged amount of skill.
This will be the most fun.
Yeah. So I'm not going to get all the super hard, but I don't know why I'm even worried about that because it's not like I'm doing shit or anything. It's not like I'm having a terrible time of it most of the time.
I got a confession. I
haven't played Titanfall.
I haven't played a touch of it.
No.
Because my go-to is Plants vs Zombies for that right now.
Yeah.
And I think the draw of the right, this is moving on to what I've been playing a little, I suppose, but the draw of the card system in PvZ, the endless unlocks, and this comes back to exactly what you were saying about the numbers going up.
And what I was saying about the dumb way Titanfall unlocks resets.
Yeah. Actually, PvZ's card system and its infinite random, well, not infinite, but it's going to take so long to get any percentage of that set of stuff. It just keeps you coming back. It's just like, I want more stuff. I need to play more games to get more coins to earn more stuff. It works.
Okay, good.
And unfortunately, that beats Titanfall for me. Like, just that draw. It doesn't even. Maybe that's the terrible indictment of how I play games. Like,
not necessarily.
Well, no, because I play games because I sort of have to concede that Titanfall is the better game.
Right.
But at the same time, I want to play Plants vs Zombies more than I want to play Titanfall, and that's kind of weird.
Because of the weird loot or whatever.
Just because of the feedback loop. I guess that's why we were so up on Rogue Legacy as well. There were probably better games, but
I don't think that had a very strong feedback loop, really.
I don't know. You sort of you're always improving every run, and
well, yeah, that's sort of a different thing though. The roguelike feedback loop of dying,
but you're it's forcing you to do better because not just because you are doing better out of skill, but because you're leveling your character so you do better because of that as well. There's I don't know. You're just always doing better in that game.
Well, in theory, yes.
Well, yeah, okay, not always. But...
So yeah, I only played a small amount of Titanfall, and I don't think anything interesting was going on really. They said there was another patch, and then I was like, patch notes, but I couldn't find them. So
what's going on with the servers in that game? They patched something in, didn't they? Or
they had a moment of trouble a few weeks ago where they were. I didn't see this firsthand because I wasn't playing it, but they were, the joystick have been running they ran it for a few weeks where it's like, here's the state of Titanfall like after launch, because it so relies on its online services.
Right.
Yeah.
They were trying this as an experiment for like how they do reviews of games of that type.
Oh, right.
Like, let's keep this running for a few weeks. And there was one week where they marked it as because things started to like connecting to matches and stuff was all very dodgy for a while. I think it was when they were trying to transition to the new matchmaking system.
Well,
things went a bit funny for a while.
That was the thing that happened when I was first trying that, where it seemed to take a really long time the first few times to actually find matches when you were doing that new matchmaking thing.
I got to admit, I did have problems. I talked about my network issues before.
Yeah.
But I haven't had too many problems since I figured out how to correctly DMZ my Xbox and fix its IP address and stuff. I really shouldn't be saying this on air.
No.
I'm just going to get totally hacked now. Change the IP quick. Change the IP. But once I figured out how that happened, my exponent's been happier and it's all been all right.
Yeah, I haven't seen any it hasn't been taking nearly as long since they made the matchmaking, since they took it from being
because I just took
actually what it is now.
Because I just took I've done it once, I think, since it went into real. Actually how it's done, but when it was in beta, it just wasn't fucking working for me at all. Yeah.
It was really slow, but it seems to work fine. And then, there was the patch where they did, now you can make private servers for...
Yay!
I'm not sure who. I guess we don't have enough people that we know playing.
No, we don't have enough of a crew, do we, to put one of those together?
Yeah.
We don't have a clan.
No. I don't think people really have clans in Titanfall, do they? I don't know.
But they haven't really baked it into,
no.
COD actually has the ability to set clan tags.
Oh, yeah, that's something they suggested was coming for Titanfall. Hey, you can have emblems. It's time to make your stupid goddamn icons.
How many penises can you make out of vinyls?
How many goddamn weed leaves all over the goddamn place?
There's a shit ton of them in COD.
I want... Oh man, COD is so stupid. But
yeah.
But I wonder how much will they patch into Titanfall and how much will they leave for the sequel, in terms of functionality? Because it obviously launched almost minimum viable product in a way, wasn't it? Really, really streamlined.
Well, we're not far away. Maybe a week or two before the first DLC comes out.
Yeah.
How much are they charging for that? I'm sorry.
Don't know. The season pass is £20 on Xbox.
That's not so bad.
And that will get you the next 3 DLC packs. And I think they've said there's going to be a minimum of 3 new maps per pack.
Mm.
But that's probably the only guarantee you have right now as to what you're getting.
9 maps? That's doubling the map count, isn't it? How many maps are there?
Nearly. There's 14 or 15, isn't there? In there?
Yeah.
I'm sort of tempted, but then I'm not playing it. So it would seem like a dumb investment right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool.
So that's that. And then the thing that I actually played this week, more than the weird week, was I started playing Skyrim because we said I was going to, or you said you might, and then I was I was thinking about it, and then I actually did.
Do you start again?
Yeah, I deleted everything because I still had it backed up, and I was like, "Oh, that's got that had a few little mods in, and not anything big, but they were through the Steam Workshop, and I was like, oh, I can't remember what these were or how they worked, so I better delete them all. So I basically unsubscribed from everything in the Steam Workshop and deleted everything, and then I went on the quest to mod Skyrim to be awesome. So I was so. What I basically did is I went to Google and I was like, I'm just going to Google for best Skyrim mods and see what comes up. And then,
there's a ton of weird YouTube channels about that stuff.
Well, yeah, there is.
Well, I've stumbled upon some stuff I want to unsee.
But what I actually found was practically one of the earliest results of that Google search. There was basically someone's blog, and it was dated in 2014. And I was like, well, that must mean these mods are recent enough that these should all work. And I won't have to fuck around for ages finding broken ass mods that haven't been updated forever. So I went through I basically went down that page. It was a ridiculously long list. There's 30 or 40 mods in this list, and it took fucking forever. I spent like 5 goddamn hours just trying to install all these different mods.
Do you install them all then, or
well, not
trying to pick them, or
yeah. Well, this list had like I could easily sort of like just from the descriptions and like generally the layout of this list, I could easily work out which ones were the actually important ones. So it was like by the time I was getting down to the bottom of the list, I was like, well, I don't really care about cloaks, and I don't really necessarily need to install the patches for magic because it's not like I'm going to use magic when I'm playing, so I can mostly ignore that and that kind of thing. So I filtered out some of them, but yeah, I went through and did all this huge pile. And the main problem with it is it's just like. Some of the mods get kind of ridiculous because it's just like you're stacking like mod wrappers on top of other mod wrappers.
Yeah.
So now I've got like you have the base game of Skyrim, and then in order to do most of like the UI mods that make the actual UI usable rather than terrible like it used to be, those need like the script extender. So you have to run that, which is like a separate exe that taps onto the normal one. So it's like now you're running the script extender, so you can run the advanced scripts. But then like there was another mod that does. Like advanced lighting and volumetric fog and stuff, and that's its own like launcher. So you have to point that launcher to the script extender exe, which then runs the actual exe.
Whoa, okay.
And I was like, well, this is getting stupid. But then beyond that, there's an even more ridiculous like mod, which is basically a DirectX hook. So it like does like graphical enhancements at like the rendering stage instead of even in the game engine, and so you have to like. You've installed that, but that's sort of running like...
I suppose it's parallel when we were doing the Generations mods and they changed the whole render pipeline.
Yeah, it's just like it's running weirdly in parallel, but it has like, in the game, it has its own overlay. So it's just like this massive pile of weird like mods running other mods to get mods to work. And then I did that, and then I played the game, and I was like, I can't remember how bad this looked before, so this was mostly pointless. It probably looks awesome, but I can't really remember, so I don't know.
Does it still do that thing where like waterfalls are static at like close range and then suddenly go into I'm moving now?
Well, it wasn't that close range, but I know what you mean.
It was super noticeable.
It was pretty close.
Yeah.
I think they're better now. They're still not perfect, but they animate from further away and they look a bit more like water when they're further away rather than just big white blocks. So yeah, I played quite a bit of that, just running around leveling up a character again and doing the goddamn stupid stealth. Where occasionally I start thinking like, maybe I could play like a thief game or something because this is like stealth and like murdering dudes and backstabbing them and that kind of stuff. But then shortly after that I always suddenly realise that the only reason I like doing the stealth in Skyrim is because it's so incredibly broken. And it's not actually like stealth at all.
I haven't seen a lot of it, but the stuff you showed me, it's just kind of dumb. Like you crouch right next to them, sort of in front of them half of the time.
Well, it's like I'm only at once you get to like level 70 to 80 in sneaking, which I got to very quickly because I was just sneaking everywhere, of course, because that's how skills level up in Skyrim. Yep. As long as you're using them, it goes up. But once you get to like level 70 or 80, you're practically invisible if you're not moving, which is really dumb. Because you'll move and then someone will turn around and you'll be like, oh no, I'm in their line of sight. And then they'll walk literally right in front of you and they still can't see you. And the only way they realise you're there is when they try and walk through you and they bump into you. It's like, that is so dumb. I mean, it's pretty dark in this game, but it's not that dark.
Yeah, they went a bit far with some of the skills.
So yeah, being like super stealthy in Skyrim is hilariously dumb, but pretty entertaining in its own way. And also,
you still use that hilarious like the first bow when you're in stealth does like quadruple damage or something. So you just
it's only like 6 times damage for the bow. What you actually want is the dag. No, it's only 4 times damage for bows because what you actually want to use is the daggers. Because the bows is fine for like weak enemies, you can easily just snipe them all from stealth because you do so much damage with bows anyway.
Yeah.
But once you go up the sneak skill perk tree and you get to like you get an early one where it's like you get double. I think it's just like generic double damage for all weapons. Then the next one up is bows do 4 times. But then there's like the peak of that sort of line of weapon damage is you get daggers do 15 times damage from stealth. So you just basically creep up behind people and go blat and just instantly murder everyone, which is super hilarious. And it has like the ridiculous neck stabbing animation where it does for the kill cams occasionally, or most of the time. which is pretty funny. But the trouble with that is another reason where they didn't really go far enough with their stealth mechanics to make it like actually good is because a lot of the time you'll grab someone and you'll like do the ridiculous neck cutting animation and they'll still play a death sound effect.
No.
And then you'll just like let their body collapse to the floor and their weapon will go clanking across the ground and no one fucking notices all this ridiculous noise that just happened.
That's the same with most stealth games in fairness.
Well, not really. It's like when you actually do stealth kills, quite a lot of the time you try not to make a ridiculously loud amount of noise. You try and muffle them.
I don't know, things like Assassin's Creed still like are a bit funny about that stuff. You know, you can dive in from a rooftop, and as long as no one's looking at you, it doesn't matter how much noise you're making.
Well,
unless you use one of the bombs that are specifically designed to make noise.
I guess. But, it's because that, like, the backstabbing animation and, like, well, actually all attacks, even if it doesn't go into the animation, are basically considered to be silence if you're in stealth. Even if you do a power attack and your character goes, "Rah!" that doesn't make any noise. It's like I was trying to sneak up on a dragon because there was just a dragon sitting like on top of a big monument, and I was like, I can totally get a stealth attack on this dragon and take off most of its health if I can just get up and dagger it. So I was trying to do that, but it turned out it was sitting too high up for me to actually reach any part of it. So I was trying to like climb up the wall, climb up these bits of ruins to try and see if I could get an angle to stab any part of this dragon while I was still in stealth, going "Rah, rah," as I'm waving my dagger at it. And of course it doesn't notice. And then in the end I was like, no, I can't get it. Well, I'll just shoot it in the ass with an arrow and do some amount of damage.
So how do you fight the dragons that are like wheeling around you with the stealth stuff?
You don't.
Like,
you just shoot arrows at them until they land, and then you just fight them normally.
Right, okay. So you can't like utilize your 15 times damage against dragons.
Well, apart from in certain rare cases like that dragon sitting on the statue. That one I couldn't, but there are other places where they will sit on a statue, and then because their tail like sticks out behind them, you can climb up a ledge behind them and get a sneak attack on it.
Awesome.
And there are places in the world where dragons just like sleep, not even on a monument or whatever, just like in easy access. Just sneak up on them and stab them. But that's dumb. As is most of the stealth. So yeah, that was pretty funny. Just wandering around, stealth killing everything. And it gets, I mean, as I was saying about those, like the stealth kills being completely silent, it can be. There was one time where there's two bandits standing sort of next to each other, like they're, I don't know, a few feet apart, and they're both looking into this room. And I can't find one of them, backstab him, and it's like he collapses forwards, his body falls into line of sight of the other bandit. The other bandit walks over and is like, what the fuck happened? As I'm still crouching there behind where the other bandit was, and I'm just like, sidestep, stab that guy as well. It's just, they're so unperceptive when you've got high stealth. Oh, and also if you put the muffle spell, it's like as soon as I got any pair of boots that have the muffling enchantment on them, I was just like, well, now every bit of armor that I ever wear, the boots are always going to have the muffling enchantment because that just makes your movement completely silent.
Oh.
So they don't even notice when you sneak up behind them, and then you pickpocket all their stuff as well and level out your pickpocketing skill, get all the points.
Get all the points.
And of course, blacksmithing, dagger.
Dagger. So,
I was wondering if that was going to come up.
Of course it was. Because the blacksmithing is still dumb. I probably should have installed a patch for that, really. That's one of the things I could have patched, and it would have made it better.
Dagger. What? You can't just churn that has some kind of decreasing returns.
Well, or just a more logical, like, progressions, or like maybe rebalance so that, like, making things larger than a dagger gives you more experience, maybe.
Yeah.
Instead of it being...
Is it a fixed amount of experience per item, then?
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah. It's not that they just got the curve wrong on how much experience, but...
Well, it's because the daggers use the least resources, so you can make the most of them, and it's not balanced to correctly account for that, really. So yeah, just shit out a ton of daggers. But then I also realised that what I should also be doing is, like, you can actually also use that to improve your enchanting. Like, you can make a whole shit ton of shitty daggers. Just going dagger. But then you can take those to your enchanting table and just enchant them all with shitty enchantments to level up your enchanting, because that works in the same way.
My mind is just stuck on the concept of shitting daggers.
Shitting out a shit ton of daggers, yeah.
Shitting a shit ton of shitty daggers.
That's some bad Bombay mix.
And then you make them into shitty enchanted daggers.
Awesome.
Well, is that what happens when you're shitting out daggers and they're covered in shit? They're shit enchanted.
I guess so. The weird thing is
the weird
That's
thing.
the weird thing.
What's the weird thing?
The weird thing is that they because of the way that you make all these shitty daggers to look like blacksmithing.
Yeah.
It's like they actually do have a more effective leveling up system for potions. Because it's like when you're doing potions, you get more experience if you're making a better potion. Like it's basically based on the the value of the potion.
So the system is in the game for this.
Sort of. Except for in the case of potions, it's like you can make really dumb potions that are just have a. It's basically the more effects a potion has, the more expensive it is, even if those effects are completely useless and don't match. Where it's like, oh, this potion heals you for 30 health points and prevents you from regenerating magicka and makes you invisible. It's like, well, that's completely useless to me, but I might, it sells for a lot, so it gives me tons of experience. So really, when you're leveling up potions, all you're trying to do is find the combination of ingredients where it's using the most common ingredients you can possibly find to make the most complicated potion you can possibly make, even if it's shit. And then that just levels you up quick. So yeah, it's almost a better system, but not really. Just broken in a different way. And that's Skyrim for you.
Skyrim.
Shit-covered magic potions. Shit potions.
It's basically broken in every way.
I've made a potion.
Oh, and the other important mod, apart from all the prettying mods I installed, the actually important mod that I installed was the one that makes it so that all the locations when you visit them on the map, the name of the location, it has in brackets if it's connected to a quest. So basically, it's like when you go to a location, it says the name of the location, and then in brackets it's like side quest, and then it tells you where the side quest starts, so you don't accidentally go to a dungeon that you're going to be sent to at some other point and break the mission structure by clearing it out beforehand or whatever.
Right, because I've done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do end up doing that by accident in Skyrim sometimes.
So that makes the exploring a bit more like you don't feel quite so like nervous about cocking everything up, because it can be quite easy to completely bone the quest structure of Skyrim if you're.
Wait, so how does it prevent you? It's just like, just don't get it.
Yeah, it just warns you basically. Okay, it tells you whether it's connected to a quest, and then if it doesn't have that, you're just safe to go in there and see what's up.
You might not want to go in here just yet.
And also, in order to make this whole replaying of Skyrim slightly more interesting, I've been trying to go to bits of the map that I never went to before. Because really, during the main quest of the storyline, you don't even go to
half the cities. Yeah,
right? It doesn't send you to 2 or 3 of the main cities ever, and it doesn't really send you to the bottom left-hand half of the map at all.
No,
so you never go down there to see any of the map icons appear. So yeah, I've been trying to go into areas I haven't been before and see new things, I guess.
I haven't been to half the cities in that game, I'm sure.
Yeah. Although what does suck about that is because the one thing I remembered was I had one specific shout in my old Skyrim save. I had one specific shout, and I really want that one, but I can't remember where it was. It's the one that basically lets you. It's basically detective vision. It's it highlights enemies through walls, which is just super useful.
That's cool.
If you're trying to sneak up on things.
Yeah. You're sort of preemptively knowing where they are, therefore I won't go quite that way.
You won't just walk directly in front of them by accident. Yeah.
You probably just look that up on the wiki.
Yeah, I might do. And presumably, I don't know, but I don't know if it's a multi-part shout, so if it does have multiple parts, I can try and go to one of the parts that I didn't go to before, because I don't think I ever... If it is multi-part, I don't think I ever got more than one part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Although I can't imagine what the multi-part version of that would do. Maybe make it last longer or something.
Multi-part.
Multi-part. Cool. Skyrim.
Right, I think that's it.
I can't remember playing that again.
Yep. That just proves that I apparently needed something else to do, because I didn't come back at Skyrim.
There was a hole that needed filling, and Skyrim is that filler.
For now. But it still doesn't feel like it should have been that.
You're still feeling like if only SimCity was good, it would have filled the hole.
Yep, god damn it. If only I had a game that was like that, but not like that. I even started considering, because I still got installed from when I purchased it, just because it was cheap at one point. I purchased like Alpha Centauri from GOG, yeah, presumably.
GOG.
I think so. So, and yeah, because I got it from them and then got it working because it still wasn't perfect. But yeah, I considered playing that, but then I was like, I don't really want to commit to a whole game of Civ. That's a bit too much.
Right.
Or not.
That's why I also didn't play Civ 5 when I started considering that as well. I was like, I could go in and see that expansion pack that I installed and never actually tested.
So, like 30 hours of Civ versus possibly investing another 100 hours in Skyrim?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Just like Civ didn't feel right.
It wasn't
So,
a
Rob-
Civ-shaped hole.
No.
Not a Civ-shaped hole.
Civ hole.
You managed to shove a Skyrim in there for the time being.
Yeah, apparently. Shove a shit ton of dagger from there.
Wedge some scrolls up there.
Some Elder Scrolls. So, Rob, what have you been playing? It's your turn. You got a Wii U, I hear.
Wii
A
U.
new
Let's talk about that.
console.
Let's talk about the Wii U. Let's
Not
Yeah,
much to talk about.
Break it down.
break it down. It's an okay thing. That has to be said. You know, I'm sort of like let's talk about the console before I talk about the games, I guess. First of all,
Okay.
So I think I'm more impressed with the gamepad than I sort of expected to be.
Uh-huh.
Like, the screen is better than I sort of remembered it. If it's from the brief times I've looked at one, it's a bit higher resolution than I remembered, and you know the dot pitch is probably slightly better than that on the DS, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And it works pretty well. And in my sort of non-technical eyeball tests, I could detect zero latency, which I always find like sort of fascinating how that actually works.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's pretty impressive what they've actually put together.
Yeah, that's where they put a lot of effort, isn't it? Yeah.
It does seem to work, and I think they made some sort of weird decisions in like some of their UI design by the fact that they have the gamepad, so they seem to just want to use it all the time.
Yeah, you've got to touch things all the time.
Yeah. So like, even when you're setting up the console, it goes through a really long setup thing, which is, you know, it's not a bad experience. Like, but at the same time, you're just like, the screen is like occasionally showing you like a manual page, basically. Like your television is showing you the manual for what the settings actually mean. And one of the sticks on the gamepad is dedicated to scrolling those manual pages,
right?
While you're touching things on the gamepad to set them. It's like, in some ways, it's kind of weird because it's like some of that stuff looks like they hadn't quite grasped what HD was all about. So the font is really big.
Yeah,
and it's like you probably could have fit all this on one screen without the need to scroll. Had you just picked a font appropriate for HD? I was waiting for that.
Yep.
No, get out of the way. Get the snotty rag out of the way. Delicious. So there's that, but then it doesn't take you too long to stumble on possibly its biggest flaw. And as far as I can tell, this is, in my experience so far, it has permeated more than just the menus. And that is loading times on that console.
Okay.
Oh my word. Just getting around bits of menu just takes forever. Like, you want to swap to system settings? You've got to sit through a loading pause while it loads the system settings menu. You want to go to the Miiverse? Have a loading pause.
Loading pauses are getting worse as the generations go on. Like, I think there's some bad ones on the Xbox One already.
Oh yeah, Xbone has some real bad loading pauses.
Why? Jesus.
For some games.
But yeah, on the Wii U, I mean,
I just don't expect it. I don't know why they're so bad. There doesn't seem to be anything that gives me due cause for them to be that bad. It's a bit strange. And that is my single biggest gripe with it, in that it's a bit like that. Oh, and the fact that they still insist on having music playing in every menu.
Oh yeah,
and you can't turn that shit off.
It's just a Nintendo thing now. Ever since the Wii, they're just obsessed with bloody
having some sort of music playing or some sort of ambient stuff. I mean, at least they've sort of upped their game slightly by, like, the ambient music is... The sound coming out of your speakers is different to the sound coming out of the gamepad. So the two kind of combine to make the ambiance.
Okay.
Which
so you got like
that's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, different instruments and stuff on different channels.
Speaking of annoying sound that you can't turn off, do you remember that when I was showing you the Mario Golf?
Oh, yeah. This may prove to be the most annoying thing about Mario Golf.
Yeah, it's just like apparently Nintendo can't resist making noises constantly. Is their problem, like the music in the Wii. But in Mario Golf, as you're like aiming your shot, like you're setting where you want the ball to go and all that kind of stuff, the characters are constantly being like, "Let's go." Let's go all the time. It's like there's barely a pause between them saying "Let's go" before they say it again.
Jesus Christ!
Let's go. Let's take the shot. Mario's not got today.
Yeah, basically. And it's like, why?
Should have called it Mario Golf.
But then it's like you just play as Bowser or Yoshi, so at least then they just make noise instead of say stupid things over and over.
That's terrible. Yeah, because that's the time when no one's allowed to talk in actual golf. Like, right. You have to shut the fuck up while people are playing their shots. That's like a rule.
Well, actually, I wonder if that would be. I wonder if in real golf, if the person taking the shot was just talking to themselves really loudly, would that be allowed?
Yeah. Tiger Woods is standing there going, "Come on, Tiger."
They usually don't, though, do they?
No, they usually don't, because that's stupid.
Let's shit this one out. Come on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That would be so annoying if you were actually trying to play a golf shot and you had Mario there going, "Let's go," constantly while you were winding up.
Just I got an image of him very slowly moving his head as close as he can to your ear and then just going, "Let's go!"
Spaghetti. Ravioli.
Mamma mia! You're taking a sweet time!
He doesn't even say Mamma Mia now.
Do they consider that racist now?
I don't know, but like when you get a bogey or whatever, or one of the bad animations, he just goes "Mama," and it's like, you just cut half the phrase off. I don't know.
Wait, Mario has a mum.
That's what Mamma Mia means. My mum, doesn't it?
Oh,
yeah, but it's just like, why would you cut half that off? I don't understand.
Because he's
just
baby
means mum.
Mario in the big Mario suit.
So it just sounds weird. I'm so used to the Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia. Yeah, just Mamma. Doesn't sound right, does it?
No. So anyway, back to the Wii U.
Yeah. Mamma Mia. Yeah, the loading pauses seems to be the biggest thing. I'm not sure I get the Miiverse. I'm just going to come out there and say it.
There's
it's like
to get.
No, I mean it's like it's sometimes kind of cool to just have it sat on screen while when you turn the console and you get the random comments come up. I mean it's kind of annoying, I guess, that they've segregated all of Europe to be one area, so most of the time you're reading German.
Well, that can be funny in its own way. Just trying to even guess what that says,
or just me reading it in terrible accent.
Well, yeah,
is in itself somewhat entertaining. But I just don't get why people post on it. Maybe I don't get why are there messages on there? Why do people do it? It's like New Super Mario Bros. U, for instance, has a bit where it sort of says, "Hey, you can write stuff and it'll appear in other people's games if you want." And it's like, why would I want to do that? I don't quite understand. So
there's a lot of this stuff. I saw some of that stuff in the Mario game 3D World. Right, where you have these stamps, but you can also draw freehand.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. And then you can share them.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes some people draw some funny stuff on there, or ridiculous fan art of things, and that's kind of cool. But the majority of the time, it's just people saying, "This game is amazing," or "I just 100%ed it, yay!" That is the bulk of the messages.
Good for them.
Good for you, yeah. I don't know who the hell you are. Get off my Miiverse. Mechanically that's all. There's not. Don't expect much from the non-console stuff like TV. I don't think works
No.
in the EU, so you can't use that. The gamepad does go through a setup phase where you can make it have some rudimentary control of your. Like I can turn my skybox on and off. I can't do anything more than that. I can turn it on and off
With your controller?
with the gamepad, and I can turn my TV on and off and send an input signal to swap it to. Well,
To
it doesn't
Wii U.
swap it to a specific input, but it will just cycle through them. So it's still not actually as useful as using the TV remote. But you can do it, and you can do it when the Wii U's not turned on.
Wow.
Yeah.
So can you pick up the pad and kind of use it when the console's off? What happens? Does
For the
screen
TV
light up?
control, you can. Yeah, you
Right.
just push the TV button, the screen lights up with the
Oh,
TV
cool.
controls on,
Okay.
and the console itself doesn't actually turn on.
Hmm.
It's only when you push the power button on the controller that everything comes
Console.
to life.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, so that's life with the Wii. The store seems like a typical digital store affair, which is everything is insanely overpriced. So, yeah, if you can help it. Top tip: don't buy your disc-based games from the download store. That seems like a bad idea.
Yeah.
Don't buy your display-based
Well,
download score.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I don't think you can.
No, but yeah, don't buy your games that you could get on a disc. Don't get the download version of it. It's just
Which is
not
a
good
shame.
there. Like it's like £50 for Mario 3D World.
Right. Yeah. That's insane.
That's not a good proposition.
Go to your local
Also, speaking
Tesco's or
of-
something.
Yeah,
Also, speaking of overpriced games, I looked at at one point when I was thinking about buying shit on the 3DS, I made an Amazon wish list of all the things I hadn't bought so I could keep an eye on the prices. And they've basically all gone up because now Amazon don't stock them any longer.
yeah, I was right about the Wii U. The price did go up. Like I double checked it. Like I
Yeah,
said 2
it
weeks
has
ago.
gone up,
It's like
yeah.
the price has gone up. So I probably snuck in at this kind of the right time.
Cool.
Well, for this next few months or so.
Yeah. But Amazon just don't stock 3DS games. So all the ones that are left have got really expensive.
Oh, because they're like resellers.
Yeah,
or-
but they're like resellers. And I'm just like, where do you even buy 3DS games in the UK? Where do you go?
Can you still go to Zavi? Or...
No, they have a shit selection. They've got like 10.
Really?
Yeah.
eBay?
Yeah, I guess that's it, really, isn't it?
Trying to buy new 3DS games off eBay. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy. It's a weird
Game.
situation.
You know, their game aren't that great either, and also expensive.
Yeah, game aren't good on price.
So yeah, kind of sucks. I was hoping that I might be able to get in on like Lost Sonic or whatever.
Oh, what, the Lost World? Oh, there's tons of the DS version. This is annoying,
Actually, I
'cause
think that
was-
is one of the ones that has gone down.
Yeah, I was
rather
checking-
than up.
I was checking on eBay for copies of like Sonic Lost World for Wii U, and I came across the weird phenomenon that I'm not sure I've seen on eBay very often, where it's like you can get a copy of Sonic Lost World for £30 new.
Yeah.
The price you can get in a second-hand copy on eBay is £30. That seems to be consistently the price that they sell at, and I'm like, well, okay, what are you people doing? This is like just buy new rather than spending all that money on a second-hand one. It doesn't make sense to me. Crazy people. And also Sonic Lost World seems to like not be very common on eBay. But there's quite a few of the 3DS version.
Yeah, we've seen quite a few of them.
So that was odd. I was just checking. Yeah, so I've been spending the bulk of my last 2 weeks playing Lego City Undercover.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
It's pretty awesome.
Really cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm really into it.
So
I'm
it's like
probably
an
more than I should be in some ways, because it's at its core, it's still a Lego game. It still follows a lot of the tropes.
Yeah, but those games are good though.
Well, they sort of are, but they basically all boil down to the same formula, which
That's true.
which is essentially nothing particularly cleverer than a treasure hunt. But the scale of the treasure hunt in Lego City Undercover is like so far beyond anything I think they've done before.
Right. Because this was because they've kind of gone back to doing normal ones, right? At this point.
Yeah.
This was
Undercover is well, maybe the Marvel one might have some elements of it. I'm not sure, but basically, yeah, this one is their first attempt at an open world Lego game.
Yeah.
So you have this enormous world which is dense with stuff to discover, and I mean dense. Like there's stuff bloody everywhere, and the world isn't small.
Right.
Yeah, and it's just like, so you're not necessarily doing anything particularly complex. It's like you find a thing. If you have the ability with which you can do something to the thing, you do that thing, and that may lead to other things, which will eventually lead to a collectible. Rinse and repeat. But you rinse and repeat so much. Yeah. Like just in different ways and in ways you might not expect. Like you're not really doing anything more complex than that. It's just hit something happens, or something breaks and I can build something out of this. What am I going to build? Oh, this is another collectible chain. Oh no. I've stumbled into a car that's for some reason now glowing. Now I've got close to it. Oh, that's a time trial event. Oh, that's cool.
Cool.
It's just filled with it's stuff unbelievable, really, just how much stuff there is there.
Awesome. Sounds great.
And yeah, but it's like the simplicity of it all. I sort of assumed that maybe it would sort of start to wear thin.
Get a bit dull.
But it just hasn't. It's like I just go back now. I'm going my way through the story. I think I'm about 2/3 of the way through, maybe a little more than that now. So I have most of the abilities, and it's like, and I'm just finding myself wanting to do the random stuff in the city more, because now I can get to more points, through some of the chains of things I need to do, and not reach a point where I don't have an ability to carry on. Like I'll have traversed up this building and then gone across a number of rooftops, finding the ways in which I can do that. And then you reach a bit where it's like, bugger, in order to progress, I need to be a farmer. I haven't got the farmer yet. Arse. And then you feel a bit disappointed. And so, well, I better come back and do this later. And it's like, obviously now I'm got most of the abilities. I don't have that problem. I can be a farmer. I can stick that pig in that cannon. And so I don't know. It's just, there's something about it. It's like, it's not the greatest game technically. Like, it's a bit framey. It's not a bad looking game, but I've seen like the Harry Potter game that I've played on Xbox, for instance, was running at 60 the whole time.
Well, yeah, okay.
So this runs at, it's designed to run at 30, but is occasionally a bit framey.
Okay. Is it 1080 or whatever?
I don't think it is. I think it's running at 720, but
cool.
I haven't really scrutinized it in that much detail, but yeah, it's sort of noticeable on occasion. And it's obvious that some of the mechanics, that it's like this their first try, so like cars don't exactly handle kind of as you expect at first. They have no analog to them.
No analog? Really okay. Digital.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, because the gamepad doesn't have analog triggers, so you can't rely on that for a second.
Oh, sure, okay.
At first. But then the steering, I don't think, behaves particularly analog either. So it's kind of weird to get used to. And will occasionally catch you out. And the same sort of applies for the other vehicles as you get them later on in the game. And it also sort of suffers slightly from a sort of weird unlock mechanic for vehicles. Like, it's the same that I think that they've had in previous Lego games, but it's just a bit misleading. Like, so when you find a costume or when you find a vehicle, the game gives you a massive full screen. Well, in the middle of the screen, you'll get something pop up saying, "You've unlocked the Falcon GT," or "You've got you can now dress up as Doris," or something. Okay. And it'll put this big thing on screen that will say, "Unlocked." And it's like, no, what that actually means is you've unlocked the capability in which to purchase that skin or that vehicle.
But not the thing itself. Right.
Yeah, so you then have to go to the home police station, go through an excruciatingly long loading pause where it loads the inside of the police station, go to the basement to buy the things that you then want to use, exit the police station, go through the longest loading pause I've experienced for a long time while this main world loads.
The city loads, yeah.
Yeah. Like, again, this game suffers from some real bad loading problems. It's such a shame. It's like everything else about the game is pretty great, but the loading pauses are unbelievable. Like, there's not like there's many of them. Like, once you get into the world, you're fine. Like, you won't go for a loading pause as you're driving around or the areas.
You're streaming everything,
Yeah, and you'll occasionally have a short pause, say if you teleport too far a distance or something jumps your location slightly further than the game expects, then you might get a tiny little disc icon appear for a few seconds. But that's okay. I can live with that. That's expected. But just leaving assignments or going back to the open world just takes forever. You can quite easily get up, go make a drink, come back, it's halfway through, go to the loo.
Oh, goodness me, that's way too long.
Probably just about done.
That's insane. What's going on with loading pauses these days? Jeez.
Yeah. It is the game's biggest flaw. Because the loading pause to get to the title screen is quite long as well, and then you have to go through the world loading pause, like when you load your game.
To actually get into the game, yeah.
Yeah. And that's also looks like a slight problem because it always puts you back at the home police station. Not in it, which might actually have been useful because then you might have gone through the phase to sort of go, all right, now I'll just purchase some things. But then I guess you'd have to sit through another loading pause when you want to exit it. I'm not sure you can win with this one. It's kind of just the pauses are kind of a real pause. It's like when I'm setting aside some time to play the game, it's like unless I've got an hour or more, I sort of have to say to myself, well, okay, I don't really want to get into this because I'm going to have to waste like a good probably 5 odd minutes like before I even can play this just on load. And it's
now that is it's not good. Do you think that's to do with the hardware or just the game? Well, probably
I think it might be because it's their first attempt at making a game like this,
right?
And they just didn't optimize it well. Because don't forget, this was a launch game.
Yeah, that's true. And also, they haven't done this kind of thing before, either because they've been on various platforms with their Xbox, with their Lego games before, but they haven't tried to do that.
Well, no one had attempted an open world. They were doing it on launch on a console they probably weren't familiar with.
Yeah,
it's like all kinds of things.
Bit of a double whammy. Yeah.
But and there's no real reason, I suppose, why it couldn't have come up on other consoles. I mean, they do like gimmicky things with the control pad, which are kind of cool. Like, there's something to the fact that the gamepad like turns into a video phone. So when people call you, you get like a little animated picture of them who's calling you, sort of doing stuff. And it's normally just a map for the majority of the game. All the sound for the communication, like them talking to you, comes from the gamepad. Yet when your character talks, you hear him in the world through your speakers. It's like cool. That somehow that doesn't get old. It just sort of feels right. And they will occasionally do things where you have to hold up the gamepad to the world, and it will show you like X-rays of the buildings and stuff, and you have to scan for various items and stuff like that, which is sort of cool because it sort of shows that the Wii U is actually capable of capable of processing both screens.
Yep.
Pretty well simultaneously.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, it's not really a graphical slouch. Well, you know, it is like 2 360s. I would say, like, probably. You know, both screens seem made totally capable of working perfectly independently. Each displaying complex stuff. So that's quite cool.
Yeah, very cool.
And I haven't even talked about the writing style, because this was also the first time they did a talkie.
Oh, really? Yeah, of course. Because it's all been...
Because now they do it all the time.
Well, and it's also like their own story, instead of just like a movie.
Yeah. So they play the reference card quite heavily.
Well, naturally.
Like, so most of it is... There's a lot of pastiche of, like, typical cop things going on. Like, one of the less good ones, but is kind of cool just to bring up, I suppose, was they did a Starsky and Hutch ripoff that they called Studsky and Clutch.
Right.
For no reason at all. Yeah. And some sort of bad buddy cop jokes come out of that. And there's some unbelievably terrible pun work going on, but that's also friggin' hilarious at times. I kind of like it.
Punsmithery.
It's just you can't take any part. Like I mentioned, it's just there's so many random things. It's like the pig cannon was one of the weirder things that came up because it's just like your mountain pigs escape, or some farmers' mountain pigs escape, but they escape across the entire city, and it's just like, oh, when you find them, just put them back in one of them their pig cannons. They'll be shot right back to me, and you just go. Okay.
Sure.
like even your character in the game is sort of in disbelief at what goes on in this world.
Okay.
It's like everyone seems to treat everything that happens as perfectly normal apart from you.
You and your character, yeah.
It's like, okay. And it happens quite a lot. It's pretty great.
That sounds cool.
I'm just properly into it. The scary thing is though, is the completion percentage on that game. It's like I think as I say, I'm most of the way through the story. But I think I'm maybe 20%.
Right.
Maybe just over 20% complete, just on raw stuff to find.
It's not too bad, but yeah, that just shows how much there is.
And I've been playing it a lot.
Sure, yeah.
Like, really a lot. And it's just scratching the surface type stuff. I think, like, once I've got all the abilities and stuff, I could really dig in and not faff around as much. So, the rate at which I start whittling that down will probably go up significantly. But it's just a cool sort of no-pressure thing to play. So it comes recommended.
Sounds great. You got anything else you've been playing this week?
Well, Zach and I sort of touched on playing New Super Mario U.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I haven't really got any. I didn't play it anymore because I sort of want to play it 2-player before I go through it myself.
Even though it's completely dumb,
it's kind of fun though. It's like because you do like it is anarchic, as you said a couple of weeks ago that you'd played the Mario 3D World in multiplayer.
Yeah, I did.
It's like it's pretty fun, just in its stupid ways where you're occasionally jumping on someone's head in the middle of a jump when there's a pit below you and fucking each other over.
Exactly.
It's just pretty hilarious.
And Rob was highly entertained by the suicide button.
I didn't
what was going to happen, but
I didn't know it was there. I pushed it. I was like, "What? What? What just happened?"
Well, it was because Rob accidentally pushed it when he was trying to do something else. And all it does is like put you into the bubble, which is like how you respawn.
Yeah.
So you can do it at any time. You can just put yourself into the bubble. And he was like, "Oh, what happened?" And I was like, "Oh, you pushed the suicide button."
And then we both did it at the same time.
Like, the suicide button. And I'm like, "Yeah, you just hit A." And then we both did it. And then when you both do it, it just kicks you out of the level because you're both dead.
Because you're both dead. Yeah. Awesome.
It was pretty funny.
It was casual.
It's so dumb, but it was funny. The only thing that I sort of like, and this might not be true of the other ones, is that the sort of presentation side of this is a little. It's slick, but kind of lazy at the same time.
Yeah,
it's like sort of bare bonesy sort of menus that you might expect from a mobile game.
Well, there's completely nothing to it in any aspect. It's like there's no story or anything. It's like, oh, Bowser attacks the castle, I guess.
It's like, oh, Bowser, go.
Yeah, I think you get a lot more in 3D World than in New Super Mario Brothers in that respect. A lot more polish to the menus. There's a story and shit and all that.
But as I was sort of saying, like, I think I alluded to a while back when it's like we were talking about whether or not I should go back and play the SNES games, and it's just I think it's been so long since I played a Mario game for real, like a 2D one.
Yeah,
that it's just like it does feel kind of fresh, and I'm sort of surprised that actually they start throwing, I don't know, the variation of levels in as early as they did. Like level 2 is those tunnels with moving crystals, and level 3 has got the cog tower. Or well, it might not have been 3, that might have been 4, but the Tower of Cogs. But they're sort of throwing in relatively complex and varied stages pretty early on, whereas I remember like the early Mario games probably would have been, this is going to be a green left or right with a few lumps. The next one's going to be a green left or right with a few lumps.
Yeah.
And it goes on like that for a little while. So it sort of caught me off guard just how...
Variety, yeah.
And there was that weird one where every platform is moving in some way.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of imagination going on, which is what you want from these Mario games, really, isn't it? I mean, mean,
it's like I don't know how much of this they did in other new Super Mario Brothers games because this is my
Probably
first.
exactly the same in all of them.
Quite probably, but this is as my first new Super Mario Brothers game. I quite like it. It's like maybe I will just like start blitzing ahead with that if like Lego City does start to become a grind at some point. Just use it as a quick game because you know, unlike Lego City, it doesn't suffer from loading problems.
yeah, that's one thing. Nice and slick. Get straight into that game.
And you know, seeing Nintendo stuff in HD, man.
Yeah, that's what it's about. Wii U.
It's so simple, but it looks real good.
Need remakes of like, well, not remakes, but like just do a quick reissue of like Mario Galaxy and stuff with actual HD graphics. Can't be that hard to do.
Or if they'd like perhaps come up with a better way of running the Wii so it didn't run in native res or had some upscale capability.
Yeah, that would be cool. Looks like we're running out of time on this podcast, according to my timer. The jig.
Yes. We have 5 seconds.
5 seconds to go.
Until we hit our normal limit.
Indeed.
There it goes.
It's my timer today. I didn't have time to set, so this is like my normal timer. The power of timber. I don't know why. I always pick like my default timer, like for like alarm clocks and stuff, to be the sound that is the least I don't know, the least disturbing on immediate loudness, you know, like the thing that starts most gently or something.
Yeah.
Well, that was always my technique for when I just use Winamp as an alarm. I was just like, I just have to pick a song that has like a quietish start, but I know gets hella loud after like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So I have enough time to just get up and stop it.
And stop it. Yeah, I think that's what you need. What did you pick?
I don't remember. It's been a while since I actually used that.
Right, well, I think we shall wrap this up, shall we? I think it's been a good one. We've had...
I haven't really got much else to say. I played a bit more Trials, nothing to say there. It's Trials, it's great. And Plants vs. Zombies, which we already talked about. Still great.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. Next time, more Wii U stuff. Probably more Skyrim. Who knows? Yeah.
For some reason.
And, and E3's coming up, must be coming up soon, right? Well, it's May at this point, isn't it? Don't know.
Hey guys. Eurovision's next week.
Oh, good.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Shit, yeah. the first thing Noam said when I mentioned that to her was, better get the booze in.
Yeah.
I only just saw a news report saying something about the judging of our Eurovision entry, and I was like, hey, hang on. That seems a bit late.
Yeah.
Considering how close it is.
Well, no, we've got an entry.
Yeah.
Lolly or something.
Unless it was like for next year or something.
Planning way ahead.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have Eurovision news for you as well, in addition. So catch that next time. And we'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ding-a-ding-a-ling. Bum, 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 bum. Pew, 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 pew.